Welcome to Table Read Tuesdays reading of Beauty and the Beast, the animated version. However, we all love that movie. It's amazing. It was, the regeneration of the second golden age of Disney.
The Disney Renaissance.
Yes. Yes. But as much as we love that one, as how perfect that movie is, the only script we could find of this movie is the first draft. So there will be differences.
Yeah.
I know, it makes you sad. We want it to be the same, but it's kind of cool to see like how it started and then what changed between it and the final movie.
Yeah.
So when you start reading along and singing along and it's different, that's why. But thank you for coming with us on this adventure, and we'll introduce the cast that is going on the adventure with us. So, Vicky, please tell us about yourself, where people can find you, what you do, and etc. Quickly, yeah. Vicky Dykes, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm an actress from Central Alberta in Canada. And tonight I will be reading Prisoner, Fruit Shopper, my favorite teapot, Comb, Crony 4, and Lady.
Excellent. And Tim.
Well, I am a voice actor and I character voicer, also, but primary day mail carrier. But I love cartoons, and this is one of my favorite movies. And so today, I will be voicing a great deal of minor characters, but one of my favorites, the Candelabra, also known as Lumiere. And I cannot wait to sing. I hope I can sing Be Our Guest.
He's my favorite.
Yes, and I forgot that today was, yeah. Next, awesome, Tim, we have Heather.
Hi, my name is Heather Lee Cameron. I'm an actress. I'm a writer. I'm a storyteller. I'm a video creator / filmmaker, and I'm a family history research student from Lethbridge, Alberta. Tonight, I'll be playing a mother, townsfolk, LeFou, crony number 2, and a wife. This is an amazing movie. I will try to sing, but if I'm off key, it's very hard to sing a cappella, so forgive me. I did practice a little.
Okay.
Awesome, very nice. And next we have Jason.
Hey, I'm Jason. Tonight I'll be playing Gaston, and Mantle Clock in the script, which I believe is Cogsworth, I think, in the movie, I believe. And a couple of other little minor characters, just little one-liners throughout. So looking forward to it. And we'll see how I do remembering how some of these songs go. So yeah, it's fun and entertaining to attempt it.
Excellent. And how about Erin?
Hello, all. I am Erin Lillis. I am a voice actor. I primarily do horror, but I want to do Disney. So tonight I am playing the wardrobe and a number of various characters.
Excellent. And how about Petra? We muted.
Hi, sorry, take 2. Petra Stedman, writer, actress, longtime Disney fan. I remember playing like the Beauty and the Beast computer game when I was a kid, so I'm really looking forward to what the original version of the script was like. I only know a little bit about it, so I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome. And Angel.
Hi, I'm Angel Peterson. I'm going to be reading the action description and and Chip.
Very cool. And we have a new person joining us today. It's Daphne playing Belle. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I'm Daphne Earhart. I'm playing Belle today, and I am in Southern California at the moment, although I am traveling the world this year. So you can get a hold of me on Soul Spa Travel YouTube if you ever wanted to. But I am so excited because this is my favorite movie. This is the first movie I saw when I was little. It's just my favorite. I'm really excited.
That's amazing. So glad to have you here reading it with us.
Thank you. Yeah.
And she's basically Belle in real life. So
I want much more.
She's living Belle's dream, going and seeing the
Yes.
world. Next, we have Rob Bury.
Hey, what is up, my friends? Rob Fury here.
Hello.
Hey, actor, cosplayer, voice actor. On top of that, professional wrestler. Going back in the ring very soon. And today I will be playing the butcher, or a butcher, and the beast.
Ooh.
But I'm nice inside though.
We'll see.
To be fair, so is he. So there you go. It's perfect casting.
We'll see. We'll see. Just kidding. Yes. For anybody who hasn't seen this movie yet. And next, and last but certainly not least, we have Morgan.
Hi, I am Morgan. I am an actor of both screen and voice. I'm Los Angeles based, and as always, excited to be here.
So excited to have you and everybody here. This is going to be awesome. And so we invite you all to be our guests. There we go. Angelina, when you're ready, you can take us away.
Great. So Beauty and the Beast production, well, that doesn't matter. First draft in 1990. Prologue. An ornate storybook opens upon an illustration of a beautiful white shining castle, which looks down upon a green lush countryside. Once upon a time, there lived a spoiled, self-centered little boy who would one day grow up to rule the kingdom. In full animation, we meet the 11-year-old child as he's being dressed and fussed over by a slew of harried servants. But the boy is making it impossible for them. He is sick and tired of getting all dressed up, sick and tired of being polite, sick and tired of boring old ceremonies. His two regents, try to explain that a wise woman, respected throughout the land, is coming to pay him a visit. The wise woman used to give advice to his parents, and some say she has magical powers. I don't care. It's my castle, and I'm going to do what I want. The boy pushes the servants away. Just try and stop me. That's what you should be saying, Mr. Rob. The boy runs into the countryside where he collides with what looks to be an old beggar woman. She's coming up onto the walkway, carrying a basket of flowers. He knocks her to the ground. The couriers gasp. Servants run up to help her on her feet. The old woman levels her gaze at the boy. She's a craggy old croon, but with the wisdom of the ages in her eyes. I'm waiting for an apology, she says. The boy seems surprised. He laughs. You can wait all day. You're not going to apologize? He crosses his arms stubbornly. I don't have to. She smiles patiently. I'll give you one last chance. The boy's temper flares. Why should I say I'm sorry to some old beggar woman? I don't care about you. He angrily kicks the basket, scattering flowers in the dirt. Fierce power emanates from her eyes as the wise woman gazes deep into his soul. I can see that you care for nothing. You love no one but yourself. Why should I? The boy answers arrogantly. She shakes her head. Well, then you're no better than a beast. The wise woman raises her arms. She glows with power and magic. The boy gasps. His eyes go wide and he bolts back into the castle. He flees past the regents who apologize to the wise woman on his behalf. Forgive him. He's just a child. A child in need of a lesson, she answers. Please, we can't let you harm him. I warn you not to interfere. Heedless of her warning, the regents block the way. She waves an arm at them and they are transformed into objects, a mantel clock and a candelabra. She continues after the fleeting boy, transforming any and all her get in her way. The frightened boy runs through the castle looking over his shoulder. He dashes into the safety of his own room, shoves furniture in front of the door and hides in a corner. Moments later, the wise woman appears in front of him. He cowers behind a chair. Well, since you are no better than a beast, then you deserve to look like one. She waves her arm and the boy is transformed into a monstrous creature. half boy, half beast. And you will remain a prisoner in this enchanted place with no human company. She takes a single red rose from her basket. It begins to glow with enchantment. This rose will bloom until your 21st birthday. If you can learn to love another and earn their love in return by the time the rose withers, then the spell will be broken. If not, you will be doomed to remain a beast forever. She places the enchanted rose in an empty vase on the table. I leave you with that and a gift. She reaches into the basket again and emerges with an ornate golden mirror. She places it on the table next to the rose. This enchanted mirror will show you any part of the wide world you wish to see. Look well, for it is a world you can no longer be a part of. And in a flash of mystical light, the old wise woman is gone. The child beast races desperately throughout the castle. Up to the highest tower, he looks down to see her disappear into the deep, enchanted mist which has surrounded his castle. I'm sorry, he cries. Please come back. I'm sorry. And as the beast child peers desperately out through the bars, we pull back to fade in an exterior of the village, a brisk morning in late fall. We open on a charming provincial French village, winding cobblestone streets, poplar trees with a few leaves clinging to the branches, sparkling fountain in the town square, stone cottages with thatched roofs, crumbling medieval steepled church, outdoor cafe tables, autumn flowers in the green shuttered windows, and colorful signs above the quaint shops. We follow the cobblestone streets over a small rise and find exterior Bell's cottage. It is a small and maybe just a little shabbier than the rest. Excuse me. But it has a warm rustic charm. Flower pots line the steps leading to the front door. A stone-thatched roof well in the yard. Chickens and goats wandering freely. A vegetable garden and a weathered barn. The door opens and Belle trots down the steps carrying a book. Even dressed in poor provincial clothes, she is a stunning sight. At 18, she already has a classical beautiful face, and her eyes shine with intelligence. Unlike other beauties, Belle seems entirely unaware of her looks. This is no ordinary girl. She tops the rise leading into town and sings.
Little town, it's a quiet village. Every day, like the one before.
The village. Autumn leaves skitter across the cobblestone as Belle eagerly starts into town, and the villagers begin to bustle about their daily business. The colorful open-air market comes alive with flower vendors, bakers, blacksmiths, fruit sellers, potters, milkmaids, merchants, harried mothers, elderly ladies in the window, laughing children, clip-clopping horses, and gabby young girls.
Little town full of little people waking up to say
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Sure.
Bonjour.
A baker unloads a tray of rolls from his wagon to sell in the marketplace.
There goes the baker with his tray, like always, the same old bread and rolls to sell. Every morning just the same, since the morning that we came to this poor provincial town.
Good morning, Belle.
Morning, monsieur.
And where are you off to?
The bookshop. I just finished the most wonderful story about a beanstalk and an ogre and...
But he is not interested. He yells over his shoulder to his wife.
That's nice. Marie, the baguettes, hurry up.
Belle sighs. Never mind. She continues on her way. Various townspeople talk about her as she passes.
Look, there she goes, the girl is strange.
No question. Isn't
Isn't
this
distracting,
can't you tell?
Never
Never part of any crowd.
Cause her head's up
above the cloud. No denying she's a funny girl, that Belle.
A man in a cart speaks to an elderly woman.
Bonjour, good day. How is your family?
Bonjour, good day. How is your wife?
A harried mother with 3 children speaks to an egg merchant.
I need 6 eggs.
A large man bellows at a candlestick maker.
That's too expensive.
Belle speaks softly to herself as all of this goes on around her.
There must be more than this provincial life.
Exterior the bookshop. With some relief, she escapes into a tiny bookshop. Interior bookshop. The door tinkles as she enters. The bookshop is small and deserted with a few books on the shelves. A gentleman in glasses comes out from behind a curtain in the back.
Ah, Bill.
Good morning. I've come to return the book I borrowed.
Finished already?
Oh, I couldn't put it down. Have you got anything new?
She gives him the book and looks around eagerly.
Not since yesterday.
Belle points to a book on the shelf.
That's all right. I'll borrow this one.
That one? But you've read it twice.
Well, it's my favorite. Far off places, daring sword fights, magic spells, a prince in disguise.
If you like it all that much, it's yours.
But sir.
I insist.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
She gives him a beautiful smile and the tinkling bell ushers her out. Exterior village. Belle emerges from the bookstore, opens the book and starts to read. During the following, she continues to read as she crosses the road, skillfully avoiding getting run over by carts and carriages. She jumps over a mud puddle, sidesteps a fat man, and pats a little girl on the head, all without looking up.
Look, there she goes, that girl is so peculiar. I wonder if she's feeling well. With a dreamy far-off look and a note stuck in a book, but a puzzle to the rest of us is Belle.
At the fountain, Belle sinks down on the edge of the fountain, engrossed in the book. A cat and her kittens wander past. Belle shares her excitement with them.
Oh, isn't this amazing?
The cat gathers the kittens around for story time.
It's my favorite part because you'll see.
Belle holds the illustrations up for him. The kittens climb all over each other to see the pictures.
Here's where she meets Prince Charming, but she won't discover that it's him till chapter 3.
The cat and kittens get a big kick out of this. Belle scratches the cat under the chin and continues on her way, nose still in the book. A young girl in a dress shop looks out as she passes.
Now it's no wonder that her name means beauty. Her looks have got no parallel.
The shopkeeper joins her at the window.
But behind the fair facade, I'm afraid she's rather odd, very different from the rest of us.
She's nothing like the rest of us, yes, different from the rest of us is Belle.
The town square, the handsome hunter Gaston and his adoring hanger-on, LeFou, approach the town square. They've been hunting. LeFou's loaded down with the spoils, antlers, pelts, birds. Gaston walks ahead with an arrogant stride, gun slung over his shoulders. He's rude, self-centered bully with a feral look in his eyes as the whole world is his prey.
You didn't miss a shot, Gaston. You're the greatest hunter in the whole world.
I know.
Belle comes around the corner with on the opposite side of the square, head buried in a book. Gaston snaps dead. He watches her with a proprietary glint in his eye. LeFou dumps the booty into a pile.
No beast alive stands a chance against you.
A group of twittering local girls comes out the shop and spots Gaston. They giggle and whisper, trying to get his attention. Gaston ignores them.
And no girl for that matter.
Still on Belle.
And no girl for that matter.
That is true, LeFou. I've got my sights set on that one.
Gaston points toward Belle, but LeFou's still looking at the local girls. He sighs enviously. Gaston jabs him with an elbow and points impatiently to Belle. LeFou stumbles all over himself with surprise.
The inventor's daughter?
She's the one. The lucky girl I'm going to marry.
But she's...
the most beautiful girl in town.
I know, but...
That makes her the best.
He grabs LeFou in one beefy hand and pulls him up nose to nose.
And don't I deserve the best?
Well, of course. I mean, please. You deserve, well, who else? I mean...
He drops LeFou and sings.
Right from the moment that I saw her, saw her, I said she's gorgeous, and I fell. Here in town, there's only she who is beautiful as me, so I'm making plans to woo and marry Belle.
Gaston motions to LeFou to bring the booty and quickly crosses to the other side of the square where Belle will pass any minute. LeFou gathers the spoils and stumbles to catch up. Gaston strides past the group of twittering girls. He flashes his handsome look as he passes. They swoon. LeFou flashes his handsome look too. They ignore him.
Look, there he goes. Isn't he dreamy? Monsieur Gaston. Oh, he's so cute. Be still my heart. I am hardly breathing. He's such a tall, dark, strong, and handsome brute.
While the silly girls sing, Gaston positions himself over the spot where Belle will pass. He motions for LeFou to hurry up. LeFou arrives and dumps the booty just in time for Gaston to put one foot up, hand on his hip, in victorious hunter stance. Belle crosses the street and briefly glances Gaston's way. He puffs up, but she continues on without a second look. Gaston frowns, thinks for a minute, then grabs a pair of antlers from the pile and takes off after her. Belle backtracks through the marketplace. Still, without looking up from her book, Gaston trails her. LeFou trails him.
Bonjour.
Pardon.
Mais oui. Oh, sorry. Good day. Good day.
Mais oui.
Matronly woman complains to the butcher.
You call this bacon?
What lovely grapes!
Another woman orders from the cheese seller.
Some cheese?
10 yards.
1 pound.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's me. Sorry. I'll get the knife.
Please, let me through.
A woman takes a big bite of a long bread roll. She makes a face.
This bread.
Oh, it's fish.
It's stale.
They smell.
Madame's mistaken.
Well, maybe so. Good morning.
Belle emerges out the other side of the marketplace.
There must be more than this provincial life.
Oh, good morning.
She takes off up the rise for home. Gaston emerges from the marketplace behind her. He proudly announces,
Just watch. I'm going to make Belle my wife.
Look, there she goes, a girl who's strange but special. A most peculiar mademoiselle. It's a pity and a sin she doesn't quite fit in, 'cause she really is a funny girl. A beauty but a funny girl. She really is a funny girl, that Belle.
They go back to their activities.
Bonjour, good day. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
Bonjour.
LeFou hurries up to catch up with both of them. Exterior china store.
Hurry up, LeFou.
Belle approaches her cottage. Gaston picks up the pace of his cocky stride and leans over her shoulder.
Hello, Belle.
She glances up briefly.
Hello, Gaston.
Okay. Oh. And I'm just about to share the screen. So did anyone happen to see what page we were on?
We are on page 8, near the end of page 8.
Thank you. Okay.
I read from my screen for reasons like this.
Yes. Around there?
Yes.
Yes.
It might be me, but I don't know where we are.
We are on Gaston.
Gaston.
Just
Hello,
picked up the
Gaston.
pace of his cocky stride and leaned over her shoulder.
Thank you.
Hello, Belle.
She glances up briefly.
Hello, Gaston.
She keeps walking. He frowns at her non-existent response to rush and rushes to follow her.
So what's that you're reading?
He reaches over from behind and takes the book out of her hand. Belle sighs and turns around.
It's yes, I've read this one. It's couldn't put it down. Terrible tragedy. It's I wept real tears.
Belle hides a smile. Sure you read it. LeFou finally catches up, huffing and puffing, as Gaston tosses the book over his shoulder. It bonks LeFou on the head and falls to the ground. Belle makes a move to retrieve it, but Gaston reaches around, grabs a pair of antlers from LeFou's pile, and
Belle, I brought you a present.
Antlers. How thoughtful. Thank you, but I couldn't.
Sure you could.
It's really kind of you, Gaston, but we've no place to put it.
Belle gives him the antlers, picks up the book, and turns to go.
Thank you anyway.
LeFou is offended on Gaston's behalf. He strikes.
She'd have more room if she threw out her crazy father's stupid inventions.
They laugh heartily.
Don't talk about my father that way.
Oh, yes. Don't talk about her father that way.
My father is not crazy. He's a genius.
Boom, a window in Belle's cottage blows out. Colorful smoke billows out.
Papa!
He's done it again. Come on.
She takes off for the cottage, drawn by the explosion. Gaston and the townsfolk follow behind her. Exterior Belle's cottage. Belle's slightly addled genius inventor father, Maurice, comes stumbling out of the workshop, waving his arms, covered in soot, hair on end, glasses askew. Mile a minute. Oh, my heavens. I think I've done it. After all this time, we might really have something here. The crowd arrives. They've seen this before. They shake their heads and snicker behind their hands.
Papa, are you all right?
All right. Why, I'm stupendous. I'm tremendous. I'm
a crazy old fool.
They snicker, but Maurice is too excited to notice. He drags her toward the workshop door. I can't wait for you to see this.
Inventions of his never work.
He's out of his mind. Always has been.
The words hit Belle like cruel blows. Maurice rushes inside. Belle glances back and speaks with quiet conviction.
They'll see.
She goes in, excitement over. The crowd dissolves, shaking their heads and snickering. Gaston and LeFou wander off with the others. Interior Maurice's workshop. The workshop is a phantasmagoria of colorful gadgets and whimsical inventions. The invention twist and squeal cheerfully.
Oh, Papa, it works! You did it! You really did it! I always knew you were a genius.
Oh, well, I don't know if I qualify as cuckoo. The cuckoo clock waves a little flag. Fair today.
You're going to enter this in the fair. You better hurry.
The fair? Oh, my heavens. I almost forgot. I have to pack this up and...
I'll get Philippe.
She runs out as he scurries around madly, taking the inventions apart and packing it up. Exterior Maurice's workshop. Belle whistles into a tube leading to the barn. There's an answer, Winnie.
Philippe, bring the wagon.
A nose reaches over the half door, clicks the latch open, and Philippe, the faithful family horse, trots out. Exterior Belle's cottage. Belle closed the tailgate on the wagon.
Have you got everything? You'll win this year. I just know it.
He touches her cheek briefly, marveling at her belief in him. Well, if I do, we'll leave all this behind.
And never look back.
Maurice clucks his tongue. Philippe whinnies and they take off. Maurice waves his hand in farewell.
Keep him safe.
She raises up on her tiptoes to watch them as long as she can.
Goodbye, Papa. Good luck.
Goodbye, Belle. Take care while I'm gone. Once they're out of sight, she slumps with exhaustion and blows a dangling wisp of hair out of her eyes. Exterior country road. The late afternoon sun throws long shadows on the road as Maurice and Philippe trot along. Philippe's hooves crunch on the dry leaves. A cold wind whips up, sending ripples across the river. They pass wine caves, clop across the bridge. That night, they're still not there. Philippe's head hangs low as he plods along. We should be there by now. Well, maybe we missed the turn. Farther on. Well, now we'll never make it to the fair. Belle will be so disappointed. They come to the crossroads. Philippe turns automatically, but Maurice jerks the reins. No, Philippe. This is the right road. Philippe whinnies and shakes his head. I'm sure now. Come on. He jerks the reins. Philippe snorts. All right, but we'll get lost. And he reluctantly turns down the road that leads to the wild, forested region. They enter a dense, gloomy, ominous forest. The trees withered and tangled. Philippe doesn't like the look of this. He whinnies nervously. The forest grows thicker, more dense, blotting out the remaining light. Well, this can't be right. Where have you taken us, Philippe? A cold wind whistles through. Feel free to make the noises if you want, guys. The tree creaks and rustles. Bare branches seem to reach out for them like long, brittle fingers. Oh, we better turn around. Shadows creep along the ground. Knotholes and wizened trees stare sightlessly. A few wisps of mist swirl ominously as around Philippe's hooves, water drips from the tree branches. Something rustles through the thick, crackling underbrush. Philippe skitters nervously. Whoa, whoa, boy. Up ahead, a shroud of mist hangs down from the trees, making them look like weird, ghostly apparitions. They press on the mist, and the mist envelops them. Philippe's trees twitch at every sound. In the distance, they hear a bone-chilling howl of a wolf. Philippe whinnies fearfully. He skitters. Maurice struggles to hold him. Steady, Philippe, steady. There's another howl. Philippe panics. Whoa, Philippe. Maurice loses his grip and tumbles to the ground. The wolves howl again, closer still, panicked and terrified. Philippe thunders off with the sound of the hooves on his tail. Silence descends. Maurice climbs to his feet. The mist drops down around him like a cloak. Philippe? Maurice stares through the mist. Two cold yellow eyes stare back. Whoa! He stumbles backwards and turns, running blindly through the thick mist. There's a snarl, then a sound of padded steps, steady, panting on his tail. Maurice can hear the wolf tracking him down. He catches a glimpse of something dark, pacing him through the trees. Another one. No! No! He runs headlong, stumbles over a knotted root, falls, struggles to his feet, and keeps running. He looks back over his shoulder. The wolves are only gray shapes in the mist, but he can hear them slavering hungrily, and he can see their eyes burning with hunger. Maurice looks up. He sees a light that seems to float way off in the distance. What's that? Help! Can you hear me? Help! He scrambles through the underbrush, fighting his way toward the light. But the trees are thick and gnarled, impossible to get through. Sharp branches tear at his clothes, almost as if they're trying to keep him away. He glances over his shoulder, yellow eyes at his heels. He turns back and almost runs into a tall, ornate ironwork gate, tarnished and overgrown with age and disuse. It creaks open. Maurice leaps through and heaves it closed, just as the wolves leap for his throat. Throw themselves violently at the bars, snapping and growling, desperate to get at him. Maurice backs away, trembling. The wolves finally give up. They howl in defeat and slink away. Exterior Beast's castle. Maurice turns around and looks up. He gasps, for there, looming ominously over him, cloaked in mist, a huge, dark, foreboding castle. It glowers, lonely and sullen, as if it's been brooding all these years over its solitude. Maurice cautiously moves across a bridge leading to the entrance of the castle. The surrounding grounds have grown wild with neglect. Ornate marble statues are barely visible beneath tangled, creeper vines, probably creepy too. Exterior castle. Up in a high turret, we see a primitive telescope peering out the window. Squeak! It swivels to follow. On Maurice's point of view, the telescope. Maurice as he proceeds through the grounds toward the castle. Mental clock? Is someone muted? Who's mental clock?
Yes. Well, you've done it. I told you not to let him in.
We could not leave him for the wolves.
Right. And it's so much safer in here.
Master will be furious if he finds out we let a stranger inside the gates.
Well, we don't have to tell him, do we?
Exterior Castle Maurice. He approaches the entrance to the castle and stops short. The front door stands open, as if someone is expecting him. A flickering light beckons from within. He moves up the steps and peers inside. Interior, the beast's castle. The interior is huge and awe-inspiring, filled with tapestries, statues, vast corridors, rich carpets, and ancient painted tapestries. But it appears hollow, lifeless, and empty, like a deserted cathedral. Hello? His voice echoes through the vast, vacant corridors. He steps inside. The halls are dim. There's a heavy, musty stillness in the air. Maurice looks around and notices a silver candelabra and a fancy wooden clock sitting in the carpet in front of the door. Hello?
You are lucky, monsieur. We saw you just in time.
Well, if you hadn't opened the gate, I don't know what I... Wait, who said that?
Monsieur Lumiere, at your service.
Candelabra bows graciously, but Maurice doesn't notice. He reaches down and picks up Candelabra for more light. He looks around for the mysterious speaker. I'd like to thank you for saving my life.
Yes, fine, but could you do it quietly, please?
Maurice whips around again. Where are you? He feels something tugging at his cloak.
Right here.
He whirls, but doesn't glance down, sees nothing. Where?
Down here.
Maurice looks down. Mantel Clock is staring up at him with an exasperation, hands on his hips. Mantel Clock is a manic, uptight, officious English major domo, much like Basil Fawlty. His pendulum swings at a rapid pace, like his heart rate. Someone wound him up way too tight, and he's never wound down. Mantel Clock.
Put me down at once.
Oh, no, up here.
Oh, I'm up there. And up there?
He points up to the candelabra in his hand. Maurice glances sideways. Two bulging eyes peer out him. His hand covers Candelabra's mouth. He makes muffled, choking sounds. Maurice releases his hand. Candelabra gasps for air as he falls to the ground. Incredible. How is this accomplished? Are they puppets?
Who is he talking to?
Maurice grabs Mantel Clock and turns him upside down. Mantel Clock is terrified to be treated in this unseemly manner.
Put me down at once.
Maurice pulls at his legs and arms, his little mustache.
Stop that! Stop it, I say!
Maurice stops pulling and stares at Mantel Clock with surprise and wonder. Why? Well, you're not a puppet at all. Well, you're alive.
But of course.
But how can that be? It's impossible. It defies the laws of science.
This is your last warning, sir. If you don't put me down at once, I will be forced to give you a sound thrashing.
Maurice quickly replaces him on the floor and looks around the castle with a renewed sense of wonder.
For shame, Cogsworth. Is that any way to treat our guest?
Yes! Oh, now he's our guest.
While they argue, Maurice wanders over to the table and discovers a music box. He pokes it to see if it's alive too. Music box giggles in reply. Music box. Will you play me a tune, little fella? Candelabra?
Poor fellow. Must be famished from his ordeal.
Oh, no. I know what you are thinking. Now, none of that. You know what Master will do if we...
The sound causes Mantel Clock to whirl around in panic. He runs at them and arms waving.
Stop that! Stop it! I say, you hear me? I said quiet!
The castle corridors. We follow the echo of his voice as it travels through the halls until we find ourselves in a dark, clustered, musty place. The barest trickle of light seeps in from under the door. A dark presence stirs. We can hear its breathing, heavy, labored. It rears up and growls. Interior of the foyer.
We mustn't wake the Master.
Monsieur, as you see, we are servants with no one to serve.
Right, and we're very glad we could save your life. Now, let's be on our way.
He pushes Maurice toward the door. Candelabra ducks around to the other side.
But before you go, perhaps you would do us a great favor by allowing us to serve you dinner.
Why, I'd be honored. This should be something to see.
No, I won't allow it.
Calm yourself, Cogsworth. Calm yourself. We'll keep it simple. A small repast. A morsel, really.
No, absolutely not.
Candelabra sweeps his arm toward the dining room doors, which swing wide. Maurice follows him in the with mantle clock, getting dragged along by the cape.
Nope, 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 nope.
The dining hall is a formal dining hall with bare table that stretches the length of the room. During the following, a coat rack removes Maurice's cape and bag. A formal dining chair jumps up, scoots underneath him, and slides him up to the table. Candelabra hops up onto the table.
Esteemed Monsieur, it is with deepest pride and greatest pleasure that we welcome you here tonight. And now we invite you to relax, pull up a chair, as the dining room proudly presents your dinner.
The song proceeds in the style of an elaborate cabaret show with the table as a stage. The candelabra serves as master of ceremonies, and the serving pieces sing and dance as they set the table and perform the meal.
Be our guest, put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, monsieur, and we'll provide the rest. Soup du jour, hot hors d'oeuvres. Sir, we only live to serve. Try the craze stuff. It's delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. They can sing, they can dance. After all, sir, this is France. And the dinner here is never second best. Go on, unfold your menu, take a glance, and then you'll be our guest. We are guest, be our guest. Beef ragout, cheese soufflé, pie and pudding and flambé. We'll prepare and serve with a culinary cabaret. Yes, you're cold, yes, you're wet, but we'll help you to forget. You won't know what's outside when it's storming, when the silverware's performing. He tells jokes, I do tricks with my fellow candlesticks. And it's all in perfect taste that you can bet.
Come on
and lift your glass. You've won your free pass to be our guest. If you're stressed, it's fine dining we suggest. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest.
The revelry continues as the objects serve course after lively course. Feeding Maurice as part of the show, Mantle Clock is apoplectic about the noise. He runs around closing windows and stuffing pillows under the door to muffle the sound.
Life is so unnerving for a servant who's not serving. He's not whole without a soul to wait upon. Oh, those good old days when we were useful. Suddenly, those good old days are gone. 10 years we've been rusting, needing so much more than dusting, needing exercise, a chance to use our skills. Most days we just lay around the castle, flabby, fat, and lazy. You walked in and oops-a-daisy!
It's a guess, sakes alive, we'll all be blessed. Wine's been poured, and thank the Lord, I've had the napkins freshly pressed. With dessert, he'll want tea, and my dear, that's fine with me, while the cups do their soft chewing. I'll be bubbling, I'll be brewing, I'll get warm, piping hot. Heaven's sake, it's that a spot? Clean it up! We want the company impressed. We've got a lot to do. Is it one lump or two? For you, our guest, he's our guest.
Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Our command is your request. It's 10 years since we've had anybody here, and we're obsessed with your meal, with your ease. Yes, indeed, we aim to please. While the candlelight's still glowing, let us help you. We'll keep going. Course by course, one by one, till you shout, enough, I'm done. Then we'll sing you off to sleep as you digest. Tonight you'll prop your feet up, but for now, sir, eat up. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Please be our guest.
Boom, the door flies open and whams against the wall. Whoosh, the objects scatter. A monstrous shadow engulfs Maurice. He gasps and falls back, horrified. There, towering in the door, booms the beast. He's grown into a huge, hideous, ugly monstrosity, all matted fur, long, cruel yellow-fanged, angry, flaring nostrils, furrowed, tangled brows, and dark, deep-set, tortured eyes filled with intelligence and so much pain. You're muted. Oh, it's me. Who is it? Who are you?
What are you doing here?
Candelabra and Mantle Clock cower behind the curtain. Mantle Clock wrings his hands. Candelabra steps out nervously.
Master, allow me to explain. This gentleman was set upon by wolves. It was a matter of life and death. So we invited him in for a...
You what?
The force of his bellow blows out all the candles. Mantle Clock draws the curtain aside, so enough for his head to stick out.
Master, I'd like to take a moment to just say that I was against this right from the start.
Enough!
The bellow blows the curtain away, exposing Mantle Clock. He throws his hand up over his head and waits for the end, shivering with fear. Maurice recovers from his initial shock sufficiently to come to their defenses. Please don't be angry with them. They saved my life. The beast whirls back toward Maurice and advances on him menacingly.
How dare you trespass here? This is my castle, my food, my fire.
Although he's grown in size and years, we can see that he remains selfish and self-centered. Terrified, the music box tries to bury him deeper in the bag. It shifts with the movement, and he tumbles onto the floor, spilling the contents. Music box freezes. If I am very, very still, maybe he won't notice me. Beast looks down at the spilled contents. Map, compass, eyeglasses.
What's this?
He picks up the jeweled music box.
Stealing from me as well, you thief!
He grabs Maurice in his huge clawed hands. No!
I know what to do with thieves.
Interior Belle's house, close on cake. Belle's writing, "Congratulations, Papa," on top of a cake. She stands back to look at the cake and the Welcome Home Papa banner she's strung up.
There.
She goes back to her book, which lies open on the table.
Now, where was I?
She picks up a fancy ribbon and continues to decorate the house as she reads. Exterior Belle's house. Lefeu is dressed in a fancy garb. He waves his arms frantically at Gaston's cronies, who are also dressed up and carrying band instruments.
All right, everybody quiet. I'd like to introduce, well, you already know him and you already love him, our very own Gaston.
Gaston steps out, all dressed up too, looking suspiciously like a groom.
I'd like to thank you all for coming to my wedding.
He reviews the troops, admiring that enormous wedding cake. Nearby, the silly girls sob. He bows to the vicar.
Now, before we begin, I'd better go in there and propose to the girl. You know what to do, LaFou. When Belle and I come out that door.
I know. I strike up the band.
He waves his baton to demonstrate. The croonies think this is their cue and they start playing the wedding march.
Not yet.
He bonks Lefeu on the head. Gaston gives everyone a high sign and confidently knocks on the door. Interior Belle's house. Belle still decorating. She hears the knock and peers through a fancy peephole of her father's invention. There's Gaston preening on the other side. Belle whirls around and makes a face, but there's no getting out of it. She opens the door, just a teeny.
Gaston, what a pleasant surprise.
Gaston shoves it open the rest of the way and barges in.
You know, Belle, there's not a girl in town who wouldn't love to be in your shoes. This is the day.
He spots himself in the mirror and stops for a moment to check himself out. Looking good.
This is the day that your dreams come true.
Belle's eyes go wide. Oh my gosh, he's going to propose. She packed up as he advances on her.
The day that you throw out all of these stupid books.
He snatches the book out of her hand and tosses it out the window. Exterior, LeFou and Croonies. The book flies out and bonks LeFou on the head. Again, he looks around. What did I do? Interior, Belle's house. Gaston continues to advance on her.
Promise to honor and obey.
He glances down at her cake with approval.
Tie on an apron and...
He runs a finger through the icing and tastes it, then grabs her arm.
And become my perfect little wife.
He stands there grinning, a victorious hunter with his trophy. Belle is taken aback.
Oh, no.
He stares at her, utterly shocked by her reaction. She eases out of his grasp.
I mean...
She falls back against the door, stunned.
I'm speechless.
And very flattered, of course.
But this comes as such a surprise that I don't know what to say.
Say you'll marry me.
I'm really sorry, Gaston, but I just don't deserve you.
She her fingers find the doorknob and she pulls it open, causing Gaston to stumble out the door.
Thanks for asking.
Exterior, Belle's house. Gaston has fallen into a puddle of mud. Without noticing, LeFou strikes up the band. Peeking out, Belle cringes and closes the door quickly. LeFou finally notices something is wrong. He waves his hand. Stop! Stop! The band winds down on a sour note. LeFou approaches Gaston.
You turned it down, huh?
Excuse me. Gaston rises up, covered in mud and smoldering. The croonies stare at him with disbelief. He grabs a baton out of LeFou's hands, breaks it over his knee, and shoves a tuba over LeFou's head. He strides over to the wedding cake, grabs a porcelain bride and groom off the top, and crushes them in his beefy hands. Gaston's enormous ego wouldn't allow him to accept rejection. He puffs up, eyebrow arched with fierce determination, and makes a public vow.
I'll have Belle for my wife. Make no mistake about that.
The townsfolk slink away as Gaston storms off down the road. LeFou follows, still stuck in the tuba. Interior, Belle's house. After they've gone, the door opens a crack.
Is he gone?
The chickens cluck to indicate that he is. Belle steps out and scatters chicken for the feed for the chickens.
Can you imagine? He asked me to marry him. Me, the wife of that boorish, brainless... Madame Gaston, can't you just see it? Madame Gaston, his little wife. No, sir, not me. I guarantee it. I want much more than this provincial life.
On the ground, she sees a book Gaston tossed out the window. Music swells as she picks it up, clutches it to herself, and sings emotionally.
I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. I want it more than I can tell. And for once it might be grand to have someone understand. I want so much more than they've got planned.
Just then she hears a familiar whinny. Belle turns with a hopeful expression, thinking it means her father has returned. Philippe staggers into view around a corner, sides heaving for air, mouth flecked with foam. Belle gasps.
Philippe, what's the matter? What's happened to?
Suddenly Belle realizes there's something terribly wrong. Philippe is riderless.
Papa, where is he?
Philippe tries to communicate with what's happened with a series of snorts and whinnies.
We have to find him. You have to take me back.
She hikes up her skirt and leaps astride. Despite his exhaustion, Philippe turns valiantly around and they thunder off the crossroads. They approach the dark mist-shrouded forest and plunge headlong into the gloom. Philippe slows as the mist envelops them.
Which way, Philippe?
The gnarled trunks seem like distorted faces glowering down at her. Something crackles through the underbrush nearby. The wind howls, sending rustling shivers through the trees and tangled branches. Philippe presses on through the mist. The mist clears slightly as she catches a glimpse of something up ahead.
What is this place?
The gate creaks as she pushes it open and starts to step through. But Philippe snorts and snickers nervously as he can sense something unnatural about this place. She tugs on the reins.
Philippe, please, steady, steady.
He settles down and allows her to pull him through the gate, eyes shifting nervously. Belle glances down to see her father's hat lying on the ground. She reaches down to pick it up.
Papa, come on, Philippe.
They make their way across the stone bridge. Philippe's hooves scatter as he skitters nervously. She ties him to a post at the entrance to the castle. He snorts and paws the ground. Not happy about any of this, Belle goes up to the steps of the castle. The door is still ajar. She calls to the residents.
Hello? Is anyone here? Hello?
Only silence. She steps inside. Philippe waits, eyes shifting nervously at every sound. Interior the castle. Belle gazes down the vast, deserted, cavernous corridors that seem to go on forever. The statues seem to stare like mute spectators.
Papa?
Her voice echoes back in answer. Undaunted by the ominous mystery of the place, she hurries down the corridor, her footsteps too loud in the silence, and hurries up an ornate curved staircase. Interior, upstairs corridor. Belle continues through the castle under the gaze of a silent stone gargoyle.
Papa? Are you here? It's Belle.
Interior corridor.
Couldn't be satisfied with just a nice, quiet dinner, could you? Had to put on airs, had to make a spectacle of yourself.
Perhaps we overdid it a bit.
I'm surprised you didn't put on a parade.
That moment, Belle runs past.
Papa?
They gape at her, frozen with surprise.
A girl! A beautiful girl! After all these years, she has come to set us free! I am so happy.
He falls onto Mantleclock's shoulders, sobbing emotionally. Mantleclock pushes him off.
Nonsense! She's here because of that fellow in the dungeon. He must be her father.
Then we must help her to find him, no?
Yes!
Whoosh, they're gone.
No! Wait a minute!
Interior kitchen, Teapot and her family are cleaning up. A chipped cup runs across and tugs on Teapot. Mama, there's a girl inside the castle.
Oh, yes, dear.
A really pretty girl.
Oh, bless my soul. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Look, Mommy, I saw her.
Now, Chip, I'll not have you making up such wild stories, getting everyone's hopes up for no good reason. Now, no more foolishness. It's time to get washed up.
But Mom!
Not another word. Into the tub.
A twittering feather duster comes running into the door.
A girl. I saw a girl in the castle.
See? I told you. Interior hallway. Teapot comes running up to Mantleclock, all excited.
Is it true? Is there a girl? Have you seen her?
Yes, but keep a lid on it, okay? Won't you? We don't want the whole castle in an uproar.
Candelabra calls them down the hall.
Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts, down here, put sweet.
They hurry to catch up with him. The interior dungeon hall.
Hello?
A long, dark stone hall. Up ahead, the candles flare. Flickering lights reflect on the stones. Belle sees Candelabra's shadow thrown up high on the wall.
Is someone there?
Mantleclock and Footstool appear around the corner. Footstool wags his tail and starts to go after her, but Mantleclock drags him back.
Wait!
No answer. Intrigued, Belle follows the light. It continues up the stairs.
I'm looking for my father.
She arrives at the top of the stairs and looks around for the person with the light. Candelabra is perched on an alcove at eye level.
That's funny. I'm sure there was someone.
Candelabra leans around her shoulder for a better look. He moves his eyebrows up and down. Ooh la la.
La la.
Yeah.
Is anyone here?
Excuse me. From behind the iron door, she hears a faint voice below.
Belle?
She recognizes his voice.
Papa, where are you?
She whirls around, looking at the long row of doors. Which one? Maurice's face appears at the tiny slot in the bottom of the door at the end of the corridor.
Here.
He thrusts his frail hand through the slot. Belle clings to it.
Papa!
How did you find me?
Your poor hands. They're like ice. We have to get you out of here.
Belle, I want you to leave this place.
Who's done this to you?
There's no time to explain. You must go now.
I won't leave you.
The shadow of something monstrous grows on the floor. Belle can feel something behind her. She turns, and there it is, looming over her, the most frightening, horrible creature she's ever seen. The beast's eyes are red with rage.
Who are you?
He stops, awed by Belle's remarkable beauty. Something flickers briefly across his gaze, some long-forgotten memory.
I'm sorry to have entered your home uninvited, but this man is my father.
Then your father's a thief.
That's not true.
The beast roars with fury. The stone magnifies its sound. It's deafening.
Silence!
Belle takes a moment to gather her courage. She continues cautiously.
Can't you see? He's an old man. It's cold and damp. He'll never survive in there.
That he should not have trespassed here.
But he'll die. Please, what can I do? I'll do anything to save his life. I know. Take me instead.
The beast studies her with his fierce, intelligent eyes.
You would take his place?
She sees a glimmer of chance, and she
Yes.
grabs it.
Belle, no.
Done!
Exterior of the castle near the stables. Beast drags Maurice out of the door and back to at the back of the castle.
You can't do this. Please spare my daughter. She had no part in this.
Take him to the crossroads.
Interior dungeon corridor. Belle is sunk to the ground, knees drawn up, head in her hands.
Papa! You didn't even let me say goodbye. I'll never see him again. I didn't even get to say goodbye.
Beast shifts his head quizzically and out at this outpouring of emotion.
I will show you to your quarters.
My quarters? But I thought...
Follow me.
He turns on his heels and strides briskly away. Belle angrily wipes the tears away with the back of her hand. Inside Belle's room.
I trust you will be comfortable here. The castle is your home. You're free to go anywhere you would like, except the West Wing.
He opens the door for her. She stumbles through in shock.
One more thing. You will join me for dinner.
She starts to close the door, but he puts up his huge hand to stop it.
That's not a request.
Interior Belle's room. Belle crumples against the door. Her gaze travels around the beautifully appointed room, but the hopeless look in her eye tells us that all she sees is a prison. And the truth of what has happened comes crashing down around her. Belle flings herself on the canopied bed and sobs.
Oh, Papa, I can't bear the thought of never seeing you again. What am I going to do?
Oh, there, my dear.
A handkerchief is offered to Belle. She reaches up automatically to take it.
Thank you.
She dabs at her eyes and looks up suddenly, realizing she's not alone.
Oh!
A large wardrobe gazing at her with sympathetic smile. Wardrobe is a fancy but faded court lady in waiting, with pretensions to the upper class.
Oh, you poor thing. What a dreadful afternoon you've had.
I can't believe this has happened to me.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my dear. Oh, but I have just the thing to cheer you up. Come with me.
She grabs Belle by the hand and deposits her behind the dressing screen.
There's nothing like a pretty new frock to help a girl forget her troubles.
That's very kind of you, but I don't want...
Whoosh! Belle's dress flies off her head. Wardrobe looks at it with distaste.
Frankly, my dear, this does nothing for your eyes. Oh, now, what color would be best suit you? Oh, the blue.
She pulls out a gorgeous blue brocade gown and slips it over Belle's head.
I don't mean to be rude, but how can you possibly be talking to me? I mean, you're well, you're not a
person?
Exactly.
Well, I'm afraid I can't answer that, my dear.
Why not?
Master has forbidden us to speak of such things.
She pulls Belle out from behind the dressing screen. A room of enchanted objects. Atomizer, brush, comb, bath sponge, etc. And all ooh and ah over her appearance.
Isn't she stunning? What I wouldn't give for that figure.
She plunks her down at the vanity.
Why has he forbidden it?
Oh, he has his reasons. Oh, well, you look at this face. I have dressed the most elegant, noble ladies in the land, and believe me, they'd simply kill for a face like this. Now, what shall we do with her hair?
Down. She should definitely wear it down.
Oh, no, sweep it up.
Down.
Up.
The atomizer. Do we know?
They never agree.
Belle watches all this with fascination. Her curiosity is getting the better of her emotions.
Is everything in this place alive?
Oh, of course not. Whatever gave you that idea? Oh, there. You look simply exquisite, and just in time for dinner.
I'm afraid I'm not going to dinner.
Wardrobe holds the place where her heart would be.
What? But you must.
I'm a prisoner, not a guest.
But the master will be so disappointed.
I can't help that.
And as she crosses her arms firmly, we cut to interior dining hall. The table has been set for two, but gone is the happy, festive atmosphere that filled the room when the object served Maurice dinner. The mood now is hushed and somber. Snow filters down outside the window. Beast sits in the chair at the end of the table, the opposite chair. Belle's chair is empty. Everything is ready. The objects are all looking toward the door in anticipation of Belle's arrival. They wait and wait. Mantel clock ticks loudly on the credenza. He turns around, moves his minute hand, and turns around again with a fake smile. Teapot clears her throat.
Pardon me, master, but your supper's getting cold.
We will wait.
Very good, sir.
All eyes turn back to the door. Tension fills the air. Twittering feather duster appears at the door.
She's coming. I think she's coming.
Everyone visibly relaxes.
It's about time.
Beast straightens up in his chair and quickly swipes a hand through his mane. But it's not Belle who appears at the door. It's Candelabra. Beast frowns.
I'm sorry, master, but the girl has refused to come downstairs.
Beast growls and slams his fist angrily onto the table. Objects go flying. Looks around frantically and jumps into an open drawer. Food and objects have been flung everywhere. Chip, the teacup, clings to the edge of the table, his little feet scrambling in the air. He loses his grip and falls. The hard floor rises up toward him. He squeezes his eyes shut, but he lands on the palm of a huge clawed hand. The beast replaces him gently on the table.
Forgive me.
Mantel clock peeks out from the door. An elderly serving bull glances over, catching him in his act of cowardice. Mantel clock climbs out, slapping his hand officiously.
Just inspecting the silver. Everything seems to be in order.
Candelabra hops up on the back of the chair next to the beast.
Try to understand, master. The girl has lost her father and her freedom, all in one day.
What a fascinating creature. So beautiful. Such courage.
Ah, you noticed.
Candelabra raises his eyebrows up and down to the other objects. Ooh la la.
Ooh la
la. Master, need I remind you that your 21st birthday will be here soon, and the rose has most certainly begun to wilt, and that means that...
I know what it means.
Yeah, of course you do. That's silly me. How could you forget a thing like that?
Candelabra leans down over the beast's shoulder.
Master, have you thought that perhaps this girl could be the one to break the spell?
You must learn to love another and earn their love in return.
The objects all lean in, listening eagerly for the answer. The beast looks up and they immediately busy themselves. For a brief moment, The pain is gone and his eyes fill with hope.
Do you think there's a chance she might?
But then he catches a glimpse of his huge, hulking shadow in the flickering candlelight. It's the shadow of a monster.
What am I saying? A girl like that would never learn to care for me.
Look at you. Defeated before you begun. Where is your daring? Your sense of adventure?
The objects nod eagerly.
I feel like a fool.
Teapot freezes mid-pour. The objects start to ease away.
Ah, so it seems the girl has more courage than the beast.
Mantle Clock winces and throws his hand over his eyes.
How dare you?
The objects make a break for it. They leap off the table into any available hiding place. Candelabra leans back. He holds his breath. But then the beast sees the manipulation. His growl turns into a chuckle. Objects peer out hopefully from hiding places. Mantle Clock peeks between his hands.
Well, I can't let a girl make me look like a coward.
The objects cheer. They leap up and down, hugging each other exuberantly. Even Mantle Clock forgets himself. He jumps up and down, tossing dignity to the wind.
Bravo, master! That's the spirit!
He freezes suddenly and glances over. The serving bowl is watching him again. Mantle Clock suddenly transforms his exuberant jumping into smoothing out the lace runner with his feet.
Oh, just a bit of a wrinkle here. Just smoothing it out. Nothing to worry about.
Wipe to interior Belle's door. The beast stands at Belle's door. He raises his huge hands to knock, but hesitates and looks back at Candelabra, Mantle Clock, and Teapot. Candelabra makes go-on motions. Beast takes a deep breath and knocks on the door. Boom, boom, boom. The door practically shakes off its hinges.
I thought I told you to come to dinner.
Candelabra groans. Mantle Clock covers his face with his hands.
I'm not hungry. Of course, you could always drag me down if that doesn't suit you.
Maybe I will.
He angrily raises his fists to beat at the door again. Candelabra, Teapot, and Mantle Clock leap forward to stop him.
Master, that's not the way to win the girl's affections.
Please, attempt to be a gentleman.
You must be suave, smooth, dashing, like me.
Beast glowers at them, then back at the door. With difficulty, he manages to swallow his pride and indignance enough to try again. He speaks to Belle through the door.
Will you come down to dinner? Please.
The objects smile. That's more like it.
No.
Beast growls with rage. He raises his arm to bash the door to pieces. The objects wince, but he catches himself, and with a roar of frustration, storms away. Interior Belle's room. Belle and Wardrobe listen to the beast's footsteps echo away. Wardrobe breathes a sigh of relief.
Oh, well, at least he didn't break the door down.
Belle paces. Her feelings are a confused mix of anger, pain, and loss.
How did this happen to me? How did I get locked in a castle with that creature? What is he anyway? Some kind of sorcerer?
Well, the master? Heavens, no.
The vanity objects giggle among themselves.
Well, how else do you explain a beast who walks and talks like a human?
As I said, we're forbidden to speak of those things.
With a frustrated sigh, Belle sinks down into the window seat.
Oh, look on the bright side, my dear. For the rest of your life, you'll have everything your heart desires. Riches, servants, jewels, beautiful clothes. What more could a girl ask for?
Belle gazes out the windows.
Nothing much. Just my freedom.
Close up, the rose. We are close on the rose that the wise woman gave to the beast, which has been placed in a bell jar for protection. Thank you. The rose still shimmers with enchantment, but there are several petals lying dead and shriveled at the base of the vase. We see the beast's hand carefully adjust the jar so that the rose is caught in a shaft of moonlight, which spills in through the window. Cut to exterior village tavern, night continuous. We are greeted by raucous laughter, tavern music, raucous, something, from the accordion and the drunken sloshing and clinking of ale glasses.
Who does she think she is? That girl is tangled with the wrong man.
Interior tavern. The tavern is rollicking, filled with primarily with Gaston's young cronies and his female admirers. Antlers and animal heads adorn the walls. A livid Gaston is drowning his rejection in ale. A herd of empty mugs fill the table. LeFou approaches carrying 2 more, overfull and foaming.
No one says no to Gaston.
Darn right.
Gaston grabs the 2 mugs, downs one and then the other.
Dismissed, rejected, publicly humiliated. More than I can hear.
More beer?
What for? Nothing helps. I'm disgraced.
Who, you? Never. Gaston, you've got to pull yourself together. Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston, looking so down in the dumps. Every guy here loved to be you, Gaston, even when taking your lumps. There's no man in town as admired as you. You're everyone's favorite guy. Everyone's ardent inspired by you, and it's not very hard to see why. No one's slick as Gaston, no one's quick as Gaston, no one's neck as incredibly thick as Gaston, for there's no man in town half as manly. Perfect to pure paragon. You can ask any Tom, Dick, or Stanley, and they'll tell you whose team they prefer to be on.
LeFou is joined by several of Gaston's cronies. All groups begin to sing All is Petra and Away in true beer hall bonhomie. It's a silly quintet of out of the student prince designed to cheer up their idol, Gaston, and gradually it starts to work.
No one's been like Gaston, a kingpin like Gaston.
No one's got a swell cleft in his chin like Gaston.
As a specimen, yes, I'm intimidating.
My, what a guy, that Gaston. Give 5 hurrahs, give 12 hip hips.
Gaston is the best and the rest is all trips.
Gaston into it now as the number builds and shows off his muscles, his agility, his way with a bow and arrow, his prowess at spitting, his skills with the ladies. In short, this gargantuan egomania, all of this is handled in a slapstick way, with Gaston making comic mincemeat of his musical cronies whenever appropriate.
No one fights like Gaston, douses lights like Gaston.
In a wrestling match, nobody fights like Gaston, for there's no one as burly and brawny.
As you see, I've got biceps to spare.
Not a bit of him scraggly or scrawny.
Right, and every last inch of me is covered in hair.
No one hits like Gaston, matches wits like Gaston.
In a spitting match, nobody spits like Gaston.
I'm especially good at expectorating.
10 points for Gaston.
When I was a lad, I ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to help me get large. And now that I'm grown, I eat 5 dozen eggs, so I'm roughly the size of a barge.
Who plays darts like Gaston? Who breaks hearts like Gaston? Who much more than the sum of his parts? Why, Gaston?
When I hunt, I sneak up with my quiver. East of the field say I'm a prayer. First, I carefully aim for the liver, and then I shoot them from behind.
Is that fair?
I don't care.
No one shoots like Gaston, makes those buttes like Gaston.
Then goes tromping around wearing boots like Gaston.
I use antlers in all of my decorating.
Say it again. Who's a prince among men? And let's say it once more. Who's that hero next door? Who's a super success? Don't you know? Can't you guess? As his fans and his 5 hangers on, there's just one guy in town who's got all of it down.
And his name's Gastre. Gaston.
Wham! The tavern door flies open to reveal a filthy, soaked, wild-eyed Maurice.
Help! Someone help me!
The tavern keeper is drying glasses. He looks up with concern.
Maurice?
Maurice stumbles through the tavern, pleading with the patrons.
Yeah, I get to talk to myself all day. Okay, please, I need your help. He's got her, locked in the dungeon. Who's got her?
Maurice grabs him and tries to pull him toward the door.
Belle, we must go. Not a moment to lose. Whoa. Slow down, Maurice. Who's got Belle locked in the dungeon? A beast. A horrible, monstrous beast.
They stare at him with disbelief for a moment, then burst into laughter. The tavern keeper returns to his glasses.
Holy cow, you had us worried there for a minute. You must believe me.
One of Gaston's cronies leans over to Maurice.
Is that a big beast?
Huge.
The cronies laugh and shove Maurice toward the crony.
With a long, ugly snout?
Hideously ugly.
Sharp, cruel fangs.
Yes. Will you help me?
He shoved him onto another crony. Sorry. He glances over at Gaston, who jerks his head toward the door.
All right, old man. We'll help you out.
You will?
2 cronies lift Maurice up by his arms, carry him to the door.
Oh,
Oh, they toss him out. Slam. They yuck it up over their little joke.
Crazy old Maurice. He's always good for a laugh, isn't he?
Gaston's eyes grow to narrow. He must be thinking.
Crazy old Maurice. Crazy old Maurice. Oh. LeFou, I'm afraid I've been thinking. A dangerous pastime, I know. But that wacky old coot is Belle's father, and his sanity's only so-so. And now the wheels in my head have been turning since I've looked at that loony old man. See, I've promised myself I'll be married to Belle, and right now I'm evolving a plan. If I...
Yes.
And then we...
No. Would she?
No. Yes.
Now I get it.
Let's go.
No one plots like Gaston.
Take cheap shots like Gaston.
Plans to persecute harmless crackpots like Gaston.
Yes, I'm endlessly, wildly resourceful.
As down to the depths you descend.
I won't even be mildly remorseful.
Just as long as you get what you want in the
end.
Who has brains like Gaston, entertains like Gaston.
Who can make up these endless refrains like Gaston?
And his marriage will soon be celebrating. Say it again. Who's a man among men? And we'll say it once more. Who's that hero next door? Who's a super success? Don't you know? Can't you guess? Ask his fans and his 5 hangers on. It's Gaston. Gaston. Gaston.
Exterior of the village. Maurice really does seem crazy as he runs up and down the streets, stopping people on the sidewalk, pounding the doors.
Please, I need your help. It's my daughter. She's been captured by a beast.
Oh, what nonsense!
You must believe me.
Go home, you old fool!
Maurice runs up to a closed shop window and bangs on it loudly. The shopkeeper waves him away. Aaron, you want to take shopkeeper?
Sure. We're closed.
Listen to me. There is a beast in an enchanted castle, and he has my daughter.
Sorry. He shakes his head. I was looking for daughter. He shakes his head and slams the shutters in Maurice's face. He turns with a last desperate appeal.
My daughter's life is in danger. Will no one help me?
In answer, more doors and shutters slam shut. On the frantic desperation in Maurice's eyes, we cut to, and this is where we have our break. Our 10-minute break, 5-minute break. I can't remember what it is.
It was 5.
What do you want to do?
5?
7. Let's say 7.
Yeah, 7. All right. So back at whatever time, 37.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you. This intermission is brought to you by a bunch of wonderful actors and, oh, I think it changed the name. So we'll have to know when Jacob gets back.
I'm back.
Your beast is back. And better than ever.
Yeah, you should literally go on GQ and be on the cover just dressed in that furry beast outfit, the beast of the century, sexy beast.
Oh, I am now called Sexy Beast. I like it.
Well, yeah, you look good.
Why, thank you. I feel like I just like do a TikTok transition to like my God of War Kratos cosplay. Just like, yes.
Belle is back. I'm just
Why
moving to the library.
forsaken me, you bastard. Stop.
I'm so glad we adopted you. Can we keep you?
You adopted me.
We adopted you. We adopted you. Thanks to Morgan, we adopted you.
Well, Morgan roped me into things, and sometimes
Well,
Daphne,
Morgan,
are you joining me in the library? Yay!
what? We're in the library, huh?
Oh no, Daphne said she's moving to the library, and I was like, "Are you moving into the library with me? Yay!" My background library.
I'm still in my
I mean,
car.
honestly, like, yeah, okay. I realized her existence there for a little bit is like basically, you know, she meets him at the equivalent of a prison mixer. It's like, yeah, she can sit and read for hours a day. You know where else you can do that? Prison. I don't care. I just want the library.
oh my
It's
gosh,
like,
you want to go to prison? That's not a good
fantastic.
thing.
I just want. Can I have the library? You can lock me up in there. Just feed me. I'm good.
And
Oh,
Jason,
this is
thank
a
you.
musical. Sing your
Jason?
heart out.
Jason, thank you for your compliments on my singing. I practiced really hard.
Oh, you're welcome. You know what? I don't know that any of us is going to Broadway tomorrow, but we're all doing our best. And,
Well,
I think
acapella is hard.
everybody's
Well,
doing what we can
guys,
do, right? It is. It is
I
hard.
do have an announcement. No, I'm fine.
Acapella is difficult. I'm used to singing with music. Acapella is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
But one of my first things on stage was like a show choir, so I'm kind of used to singing. Because I
Cool.
used to have to say, like, show choirs basically singing movie tunes or whatever. So I was on stage for like 2.5 hours, save maybe 3 minutes. Because I was always put on stage. I was really never given a break. And 2 shows a year is quite a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
So it looks like everyone's back. Jacob, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Are you
Oh, hi, you missed it.
Bell's like, all
Hiding
right,
yourself?
transformation.
behind it? There you go.
Jacob, you missed the Gaston song.
Do I
I
need
found
to,
a library.
do I
Very
need
nice.
I've
costume
discovered a
change?
library.
Oh, it's pretty. I like it. Mine's better though because it's blue and it's big. It's like it's like a TARDIS of libraries. I'm sorry, that's just amazing. I love it.
That is pretty cool.
Excuse me, Miss Daphne, do you have a Glen Coco reference on your wall?
Who is Glen Coco?
Did I see
I'm
that?
I'm at WeWork, and yes, I don't even know what that is.
Go Glen Coco. Go Glen Coco.
Who is Glen Coco? Y'all better tell me later.
From Mean Girls.
It's a Mean Girls reference.
What?
It's a Mean Girls reference.
Do you know how long it's been since I've seen Mean Girls?
Mean Girls is the best. Listen, we're never gonna make fetch work.
I know.
It's-
On Wednesdays, we wear pink. That's why we always do Table Read Tuesdays on Tuesday, because otherwise we'd all have to wear pink. It's Wednesday. We can't do it.
Oh, I'm wearing pink. Is that a sin?
No.
You did a wardrobe change, Daphne. You're amazing.
That's what I said. I'm like, look
Oh.
at this one over here.
I did a wardrobe change, and I did I moved to a different location, so I have a library.
That's cool.
Discovered his library.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, look at the consummate professional Morgan Toll over here doing the table read and taking calls from her mom without anybody even knowing. Gangstiness right there. He's like, stop it now. Stop talking about me now. We love you, Morgan. She's like,
all right.
talk to me again.
Yeah.
So everyone's ready?
Yes.
Okay. Cut to Beast Castle the next morning. Footstool is struggling up the stairs with a silver breakfast tray balanced precariously on his cushion. Teapot and candelabra at the top of the stairs, coaxing him up. Mantle clock bellows behind. Candelabra whispers.
One boy.
That's right.
Footstool slips and tray teeters.
Careful! I said careful!
Footstool finally makes it to the top without spilling the tray.
Such a good boy you are.
Footstool yaps happily and slurps. Candelabra in the face, causing the tray to slide off his cushion. Mantle clock only barely manages to catch it in time. With a glare at Candelabra, he pushes the tray back, and they continue down the hall, coaxing Footstool along toward Belle's door. At Belle's door. Candelabra.
Oh, the poor child must be starved by now.
They put the tray on the floor and in front of her door. Mantle clock knocks on the door briskly, but instead of a little knock, it's a large, resounding bang, bang, bang. Mantle clock looks at his little fist. How'd I do that? He looks up to find the beast looming over him at the door. He's giving it a second try.
Are you coming down for breakfast?
No, thank you.
You can't stay in there forever.
Yes, I can.
Fine. Then you go ahead and starve.
He starts to turn away, but notices the tray. Ah, bait. He leans back to the door.
There's a tray out here if you're hungry.
There's a beat as she decides what to do.
Move away from the door.
He doesn't budge.
Move away from the door.
He backs up 2 steps.
Further.
He moves back away.
All the way down the hall.
With a disgruntled grumble, the beast moves all the way down the hall. The door creaks open. Belle's hand shoots out and grabs the tray and whisks it back in. Slam. The beast stands at the end of the hall, feeling embarrassed and stupid. He glances at the objects.
I told you I'd feel like a fool.
Exterior Beast Castle late that night. Interior outside Belle's door. The door creaks open and Belle peers out. The castle is silent. She sneaks out the door and down the hall. On the way, she wakens little music box who's sleeping on the table. One look at Belle and he's smitten. He hops off the table and tags along behind. Belle proceeds down the stairs, but she hears a tinkling sound behind her. She listens for a moment, then shakes her head and continues on, past Footstool, who's sleeping at the foot of the stair. Music box attempts to tiptoe past, but he doesn't make it. Footstool is instantly on his feet, padding along behind. Down the hall, Candelabra and Feather Duster are having a secret late-night tryst.
Ah, my little Fluff, the light of my life.
I've been burned by you before.
She pushes him away and flits off just as Belle passes, followed by Music Box and Footstool.
What is this?
He hops over to Mantle Clock, who's sleeping in an overstuffed chair.
Southworth, wake up! The girl has emerged!
Mantle Clock jerks awake.
Oh, well, it's about time.
They take off after the others. Belle knows perfectly well she's being followed because they're making enough noise. The patter of tiny wooden footsteps, the tinkling, the thump-thump of the candelabras hopping. She whirls around suddenly. Whoosh! They duck away. She studies the empty corridor, smiles to herself, and continues on. The objects reappear and continue to follow her. Interior kitchen. Belle sneaks into the dark kitchen and tiptoes over to the stove. She opens the lid of a pot. Stove, the temperamental chef, wakes up.
Well, thank you to keep your nose out of my pots.
Surprised, Belle drops the lid. Clang. You're muted. Vicky.
You wakes the children.
Belle turns to see Teapot perched like a mother hen surrounded by her brood of sleeping cup children.
Sorry.
For heaven's sake, stop your grousing and give the poor girl something to eat.
There's only leftovers, but they'll have to be warmed up and my fire's gone out.
Belle sees a croissant in a serving dish. She picks it up.
This will be fine, thank you. I hope you don't mind my asking, but have you always been a teapot?
Mantle clock suddenly bursts through the door.
No, that's that.
I thought I heard someone following me. The rest of you might as well come out too.
Candelabra, footstool, and music box sidle in. Candelabra bows graciously.
Welcome, mademoiselle. We are sorry about your circumstances, but very happy to have such a lovely guest.
Thank you. This is my first time in an enchanted castle, and I'm...
Enchanted? Oh, who said anything about anything being enchanted? I was, it was you, wasn't it? You're the one who spilled the beans.
Stove slams his door angrily and huffs and puffs indignantly.
I figured it out on my own, but why is the castle deserted? Where have all the people gone?
The objects look at each other wistfully. Mantle clock wags his finger at them.
Not a word. The master has expressly forbidden us to speak of such things.
I know. So I'll have to find the answers myself. Thanks for the croissant.
And she takes off again.
Well, isn't she the inquisitive one?
Now, she better not go near the West Wing.
The objects look at each other. You bet she would. Whoosh, they're gone. The armory. It's filled with broadswords and crossbows and 50 standing suits of armor. Belle passes by the open door. Squeak! The heads of the suits of armor all swivel to stare at her. The objects pass by. Mantle clock stops at the door.
As you were.
Squeak! The heads all swivel back to their original positions, near the West Wing. Belle approaches the staircase leading to the forbidden West Wing. Hurry along behind. The objects begin to get worried.
Uh-oh.
We must stop her.
The West Wing's staircase. She gazes up the darkened staircase. Gargoyles watch her from above, casting long forbidden shadows in the gloom. She takes a hesitant step.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
She gasps and whirls around to find the objects behind her. They're clearly nervous to be in this close proximity to the forbidden West Wing.
Come away from there.
Why?
It is forbidden.
The beast said I was free to go anywhere.
Except the West Wing.
Belle turns to gaze back in a gloomy stares.
So that's where I'll find the secret to all this mystery.
She gathers her courage and starts to climb the stairs. The objects gasp.
Wait, stop. We can't go up there.
Maybe you can't, but I can.
And she keeps going without the backwards glance. The objects watch her helpless horror. Candelabra throws up his hands. Interior West Wing corridor. Belle gazes down the long, gloomy corridor. It's too dark for her to see what lies ahead. She begins to move cautiously down the hall, ready to bolt at the slightest sound. She eyes the ancient portraits on the wall, shift to track her. Belle slows. She can feel something watching. She stops, thinks for a minute, and smiles with relief. It must be the objects again. Hands on her hips, she turns around, but the long corridor is dark, still, and utterly silent. Her smile fades. She turns around unsteady and keeps going. As she nears the end of the hall, a heavy, foreboding door materializes out of the shadows. She approaches cautiously. What dark secret lies on the other side? Belle glances up. The gargoyles seem to scream at her. Keep away, keep away. Belle reaches up toward the ornate doorknob, takes a deep breath for courage, and turns it. Creak. Interior, the beast's lair. Belle's eyes go wide as she takes in the sight that lies before her. It's the beast's lair. Dark, dank, filthy, strewn with broken furniture, cracked mirrors, torn, tilted portraits, doors torn from their hinges, wall sconces encrusted with old wax, shredded curtains, gnawed bones, a matted pile of bed coverings and dripped clothing. Dusty winter. Light filters in through an open window where gnarled tree vines have grown inside. They creep along the filthy carpet and spread their fingers up the walls. It's a horrific sight. A violent, uncivilized place where the beast had lived with his own filth and self-recrimination. Belle shivers with equal parts of disgust and trepidation. She glances up at the small portrait that has been raked and razor-sharp claws. It appears to be the portrait of a young boy. She looks closer. There's something about the eyes. Slam! Belle jumps. She jerks around. It's only a shutter loosed by a sudden blast of cold wind. But then she sees something sparkling out of the corner of her eye. The rose sits under a bell jar on a pedestal in front of the open window. It shimmers with enchantment.
A rose?
She approaches the rose with wide-eyed wonder. Its sparkling delicacy seems very much out of place in this filthy room. Belle grows closer. The rose is drooping. 2 more petals have fallen to the bottom of the jar. There's a creak outside the window, but Belle is entranced by the rose and she doesn't hear it. Fascinated, she reaches out toward the jar. It has huge claw hand grips the sill of the window. Open window. Belle carefully lifts the jar. As the beast climbs up over the edge, he stops, shocked at the sight of her there. Belle glances with awe at the shimmering rose. She reaches out. The beast's eyes fill with fear. Her fingers are extended out to touch one soft velvet petal. Beast. Beast.
No.
Rob.
Belle drops the bell jar. Crash! The beast throws himself over the window to check on the safety of the rose.
What are you doing? Did you touch it?
No.
As she sees that the rose is undamaged. As he sees that the rose is undamaged, his fear begins to abate, and the fury rises up in his place. He glowers at her, eyes burning with rage.
I told you. I thought I told you never to come here.
He advances on her, snarling with fury. She backs away from him fearfully.
I just wanted to find out.
None of your business.
Please stop.
But he keeps coming, a huge monstrous snarling enraged creature. He wipes at the table which stands in his way. It crashes into the wall.
You had no right. No right.
Terrified, Belle turns and flees for her life. He howls again, lost in his rage. The staircase. The terrified Belle flies down the steps past mantel clock, candelabra, teapot, footstool, and music box. There's one last roar and a resounding slam from the west wing. The objects share horrified looks, and whoosh, they're gone. Interior Belle's room. Belle runs through the door, frightened and shaking, with a determined expression. She goes straight to the wardrobe and flings her doors open.
Oh, what is it? What are you doing?
Belle furiously searches for her cloak.
Looking for my cloak.
Please, my dear, don't do anything rash. There are so many things about the master that you do not understand.
She finds the cloak and pulls it out.
I've seen enough to know it's too dangerous for me to stay here another minute.
She throws the cloak over her shoulders and runs from the room. Interior corridor. Belle flies out of the room, runs down the steps, through the foyer and out the front door. Exterior castle night. Belle runs across the castle grounds toward the stable. Interior stable. The door creaks open and then...
Philippe?
She hears a joyful whinnying sound from the stall. She rushes to him and flings her arm around his neck. He nuzzles her happily.
We're getting out of here.
The castle bridge. Belle leads Philippe quickly across the bridge toward the gate. The sound of his hooves are cushioned by a layer of snow. Belle glances back only once. The castle looms behind her. She opens the gate for Philippe and they slip through to freedom. Exterior, the misty forest. Belle leaps astride.
Fly, Philippe.
He whinnies.
Bless.
They thunder away into the night with Belle's cloak flapping behind as they gallop through the forest. The thick mist drops around. Belle can hardly see the 2 feet ahead. She reins Philippe in.
Slow up.
They cautiously pick their way through the dark, misty woods. A sharp, dry, hanging branch, Belle's cloak. She tugs at it, trying to pull free. Philippe's nostrils flare. He smells something close, too close. He snorts and shakes the reins.
What is it?
She stares into the floaty, misty blackness. Then she sees the eyes, cold, menacingly yellow eyes. The mist clears to reveal 3 hungry, slavering wolves standing on the rise, gazing at them silently. Belle gasps with horror.
Run! Run!
Philippe breaks into a frenzied gallop. The wolves howl treacherously and leap after them. Belle is heedless to the branches that rip and tear at her as she clings to Philippe's neck. She races desperately to save their lives, mouth flecked with foam, eyes wild with panic. Belle glances back. They're right behind. A wolf leaps forward to nip at Philippe's heels. He whinnies with pain and terror. Another wolf leaps at his flanks with vicious, snapping jaws. Philippe stumbles and almost goes down. He struggles to his feet and keeps running. The wolf leaps for them again. Belle screams. Philippe rears suddenly toward her into the ground. He turns, pacing himself between the wolf and Belle. The wolves growl and snap. He flails at them with sharp hooves. Belle looks around desperately for some kind of weapon. She grabs a long branch and runs at the wolf.
Get away! Get away!
The wolves turn, easier prey. They advance snarling. Belle backs up, prodding at them with the branches as they stalk her hungrily.
Back! Stay back!
Belle stumbles over a root and goes down. They have her now. The wolf is at her throat. Suddenly, the wolf is torn off her fur from behind. It's the beast. Belle watches, frozen with shock and horror, as he grapples with the snarling, snapping wolves. They swarm on him. The creatures growl, rip, tear, and howl in a flurry of flying claws, fur, and fangs. Belle pulls herself... Belle pulls herself to her feet and runs to Philippe's side, but the wolves are no match for the powerful beast. With a ferocious howl, he flings them away from him. A wolf slams into a tree and lies still. 3 others see it's a losing battle. They whine piteously and make for the safety of the trees. But suddenly, the largest wolf looms up from behind the beast. Belle gasps.
Look out!
The wolf lands on the beast's back and sinks its fangs into his shoulder. The beast howls in agony. He reaches up and tears the wolf away. He holds it in his powerful hands. It scrabbles piteously to escape. The beast's eyes go red with savage rage. Belle gasps with horror at what he's about to do. Crack! You see the reflection of the beast in Belle's eyes as he breaks the wolf's neck. Beast drops the animal in the snow. Belle's hand flies to her mouth, overcome with shock and revulsion. The beast glances back at Belle, surprised to see her horrified expression. Rob.
Are you all right?
You didn't have to.
He looks at her without comprehension and follows her eyes to the limp wolf lying in the snow. It takes him a moment to understand.
His life was mine. I took it.
But there's something called mercy.
The beast grimaces with pain. He staggers forward and falls to his knees.
You're wounded.
Belle looks around. What can she do to help him? She quickly unties Philippe and leads him towards the beast. Philippe snorts fearfully.
It's all right.
She leads Philippe to the beast. He pulls himself up and leans against the horse as they limp back through the snow towards the castle. Interior of the beast castle, main hall later. Teapot pours steaming water in a bowl. Candelabra, mantel clock, footstool, and music box look on with sympathetic concern. Belle dips a rag in the hot water and wrings it out.
This may hurt a little.
Beast doesn't like the sound of that. He abruptly gets up to leave.
Sit down.
He sinks back down obediently. She reaches towards him with the rag.
Now hold still.
He cringes back as she very gently dabs at the wound. The beast winces. He bursts out with a great, painful roar. Whoosh! The objects vanish. Belle hesitates, fighting back her fear. She can't let him get the best of her. She gathers herself and gives him her best stern nurse glare.
I barely touched it.
If you hadn't run away, this wouldn't have happened.
If you hadn't frightened me, I wouldn't have run away.
Well, you should have been in a West Wing.
And you should learn to control your temper.
I can't help it.
How do you know if you don't even try?
He doesn't have an answer for that. They glance at each other in a silent battle of wills, but the close proximity grows uncomfortable and they both drop their eyes. Belle turns to squeeze the rag out. She glances back. He's holding his shoulder, grimacing against the pain. Belle's eyes soften.
By the way,
she turns back to gently dab at his arm.
I forgot to thank you for saving my life.
This time, he doesn't pull away. As she removes her scarf to bind the wound, he smiles secretly to himself. On a nearby shelf, teapot, candelabra, and mantel clock have found a good place to observe unobtrusively.
Oh, bless my soul. Dare I say it, I think they're starting to like each other.
Oh, she's merely dressing his wound, Miss. Pot's nothing to get steamed up about.
Oh, yes, but the way she dressed it, kind and gentle, and oh, the look in her eyes.
Ah, oui, my friends. The day we have waited for many days may be at hand.
If only that were true, Lumiere.
Ah, human again.
Human again.
Yes, I think that means I'll be cooking again, be good-looking again, with a mademoiselle on each arm, when I'm human again, only human again, poised and polished and gleaming with charm. I'll be courting again, chicken sporting again.
Which should cause several husbands alarm.
I'll hop down off the shelf and put sweet be myself. I can't wait to be human again.
Interior Belle's room. Wardrobe, brush, comb, atomizer, and the other beauty accessories are having similar longings. When we're human again, only human again, when we're knickknacks and whatnots no more. When we're human again, good and human again.
Oh, Cherie, won't it all be top drawer? I'll wear lipstick and rouge and I won't be so huge. Well, I'll easily fit through that door. I'll exude savoir-faire. I'll wear gowns. I'll have hair. It's my prayer to be human again.
Interior the library. We see the beast's clawed hand push open a door covered in dust and cobwebs. He stands to the side to let Belle enter. She gives him a curious look before stepping inside. It's a long abandoned library, filling floor to ceiling with books. Belle gasps with joyful surprise and gives the beast a big, thankful smile. He shrugs it off. Outside in the hall, the objects crowd around to watch. A time passage's transition.
Tick-tock, the time goes, the days pass, the clock grows. They keep getting closer, well, don't they? Tick-tock, the time flies, a full moon, a sunrise. They keep drawing nearer and nearer together. And as they draw near, the day draws near too. The day we've been waiting so long for is due.
Interior the morning room. During an orchestral section, Belle and the Beast are having breakfast together in a cheery corner room. The Beast is hunched up in a chair much too small for him. His knees bump the table, the objects hang on. Teapot totters and attempts to pour tea for him, but she realizes Chip isn't in his saucer. She glances around and spots him talking to the salt shaker. She glowers. Okay. Belle picks up her spoon and begins to eat her porridge. Beast watches her curiously for a moment. He shrugs and buries his head in the cereal bowl. She slurps it up and leans back, full and happy, with porridge dripping from his muzzle. He wipes it off with the back of his paw and glances over at Belle. She has an appalled and disgusted look on her face. Candelabra picks up a spoon, hides it behind his back, and saunters nonchalantly over to the Beast. With a big smile to Belle, Candelabra slips the spoon to him. Beast picks up the spoon in his big, clumsy paw and attempts to scoop up some cereal. It spills out. Chip giggles. Teapot gives him a stern glare. Beast tries again, but he can't get porridge anywhere near his mouth. To save him further embarrassment, Belle lifts the bowl with both hands. She holds it up for all to see and tips it to her mouth. Beast gives her a grateful smile. He picks up his own bowl with both hands and toasts her with it. Dissolve to the West Wing hallway. We follow Footstool down a long corridor as he struggles to balance a tall pile of towels which have been stacked on his cushion to the once forbidden West Wing. As he passes tables, portraits on the walls, statues, and art objects, they all sing.
When I'm human again, only human again, when I'm not just a mere cook chose.
Oh, that's me. Sorry. When I'm mortal again, will I chortle again? When I've got one, will I thumb my nose?
I'll say sorry, my dear. This old dame's out of here.
Oh, you'll visit sometimes, I suppose.
Won't the world be in tune on that swell afternoon? Coming soon when we're human again. Interior, the beast lair. Footstool finally arrives in the West Wing, where the beast's erstwhile filthy lair is alive with busy objects, cleaning, sweeping, scrubbing, mending. Teapot is in charge. The objects take clean towels from Footstool's pile. So sweep the dust from the floor, let's let some light in the room. I can feel, I can tell, someone may break the spell any day now. Shine up the brass on the door, alert the dust pail and broom. If all goes as planned, our time may be at hand any day now.
Throw those musty old curtains away, child. We've no use for them. What do you think of this wall opening? Lovely.
The room begins to gleam. The old curtains are pulled from the windows. Light streams in.
Open the shutters and let in some air.
Put these here and put those over there.
Candelabra and mantel clock enter and stand, amazed at the transformation.
Sacre bleu! Mrs. Potts, you are a genius!
Oh, go on.
But will the master approve of all of this?
He wants to be human again, doesn't he? Well, then, he can't live like a beast.
Sweep up the years, all the sadness and tears, and throw them all away. The musical cleaning continues. Objects change the sheets, sweep the mess, shake the carpet, scrub the walls. It's almost a dance, and then it is a dance, with animated cleaning supplies waltzing around. Perhaps Feather Duster very carefully dusts the new bell jar covering the rows. Suddenly, Beast looms in the doorway. The objects hold their collective breath. Will he be angry at their intrusion? Beast moves to the wall, reaches up, and straightens a tilted painting. He flashes a grin of approval and exits. The objects let out a collective sigh of relief. Interior, the halls of the castle. The cleaning celebration continues and spills out into the rest of the place. Everything is transforming from dark to light, from foreboding to welcoming, and the objects we pass continue to express their hopes and dreams. Need some water, sorry. We'll be human again, yes sir, human again, 'cause it looks like he may just come through. Something's moving again, and it's proving again, happy endings can really come true. Something's stirring again, recurring again, I've a sneaking suspicion, don't you? Little push, little shove, they could whoosh, fall in love, and we'd finally be human again. Exterior garden, a time passes transition, day to evening, late winter to early spring. Inside, a light goes on in the library.
Clouds pass the sundial, the days move, and meanwhile, they keep getting closer, well, don't they? Sands fill the hourglass, the moons wane, the sun pass. An evening, a morning, a week intervenes. They keep getting closer, and you know what that means.
Cut to interior, the library, night. Moonlight streams through the window, shining on Belle, who sits reading aloud to the assembled objects. You're muted, babe.
When Guinevere heard that Arthur was slain, she stole away to a convent, and no one could ever make her smile again. The end.
Candelabra throws himself onto mantel clock, sobbing dramatically.
Oh, that was beautiful.
But see here, now that's entirely enough of that. Now back to your duties. Come on, back to work.
As the objects leave, we see that in the shadows behind the door, the beast has been watching and listening to the story. He steps shyly out of the shadows and approaches Belle.
Oh, think you could teach me?
To do what?
That.
To read? You never learned?
Just a little. Long ago.
Well, at least we have something to start with then. Come here, sit by me.
Belle opens a book and gestures for the beast to sit beside her. MOS, the lessons begin. Outside, the moonlight gives way to dawn. Off-screen voices continue to sing. A time passes transition.
Tick-tock, the time goes, the days pass, the cock crows. Tick-tock, the time goes, the days pass, the cock crows. Coming together, closer and closer, moving together, getting closer.
Dissolve to interior kitchen sometime later. Belle and the beast sit at the kitchen table. She points to words as he struggles with them.
That's right. Oh, yes, you almost had it.
Run!
Very good.
Another time passes transition.
Tick-tock, the time goes, the days pass, the cock crows. Coming together, always closer.
Exterior, the castle grounds sometime later. Belle and the beast sit under a tree. It's still chilly outside, but nice. Belle wears a shawl and beams at her pupil's progress.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of...
He gets stuck, struggling to say the word. Belle urges him on silently. With great difficulty, he finally manages to put the sounds together, and finally the whole concept clicks in his head. Belle throws up her hands victoriously. Exterior, another part of the grounds. Spring is in the air. Candelabra and mantel clocks sit on the windowsill of a potting shed as lawn and garden implements prepare to begin work.
When I'm human again, only human again, when the world once more starts making sense.
I'll unwind for a change.
Really? That'd be strange.
Can I help it if I'm tense? In a shack by the sea, I'll sit back sipping tea, let my early retirement commence. Far from fools made of wax, I'll get down to brass tacks and relax.
When I'm human again.
The outdoor objects dance as they begin to clean up the grounds. A primitive hedge clipper clips the hedges. A bucket dumps water on the terrace. A mop mops it up. A rake meticulously rakes the fallen leaves into a pile. What used to be overgrown and spooky turns friendly and inviting.
When we're human again, only human again, when the girl finally sets us all free. Cheeks a-bloomin' again, we're assumin' again. We'll resume our long-lost joie de vie. We'll be playing again, holidaying again, and we're praying it's ASOP. When we cast off this paw, we'll stand straight, we'll walk tall. When we're all what we were, thanks to him, thanks to her, coming closer and closer and closer and closer and...
A big orchestral section ensues, underscoring the following visuals, which are choreographed to the music. Exterior, the stables. Philippe stands outside the stable as a young horsebrush group brushes him down. Horsebrush spots Rake's big pile of leaves and gets a mischievous glint in his eye. He takes a flying leap off Philippe's back and dive bombs into the pile, scattering leaves everywhere. On Rake's look of exasperation, we cut to interior, the beast room. Beast stands at a mirror with a comb in his huge hand, studying his unkempt mane. He attempts to comb through it, but the comb gets snared on a knot. He pulls and pulls, wincing at the pain. With a mighty effort, he finally manages to drag the comb through. With a relieved smile, he turns to the mirror to see the result. One tiny combed lock out of an entire head full of tangles and knots hangs down over his forehead. The smile fades. He gathers his courage and returns the comb to the fray, just as Belle appears at the beast door with the book. It stands ajar. She peeks in to see the book struggling to control his unruly mane. She watches him for a moment. There's something endearing in his clumsy efforts to improve his appearance. Cut to the exterior of the gardens. The outdoor objects are now working on the gardens. Bees buzz and birds flit overhead. Hedge clippers clips back the tangled branches of the rose bushes. A hoe digs up fresh dirt. A watering can waters the roots of the flowers. Hoe sees something really exciting and motions the others over. Look, it's the first bud of spring. Rake has finally gotten his leaf pile back to its former condition. There's one last stray leaf and done. Rake smiles with satisfaction just as Belle runs past, right through the pile, scattering them all over again. This is immediately followed by boom, boom, boom. The beast who runs past, chasing her playfully into the maze. Rake stares at the mess with disbelief. After all that work, there's only a teeny tiny little pile of leaves left. Yep, 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 yep. It's Footstool chasing after Belle and the Beast. He scatters the last of it. Poor Rake throws up his hands and walks away in defeat. The maze. Belle and the Beast play hide and seek through the confusing maze. Belle hides behind a corner and leaps out to scare him. Boo! The Beast jumps. She laughs and takes off again. Footstool goes eagerly running through the maze. Where'd they go? He sniffs the ground, trying to search them out, turns a corner, and boo! They both jump out to scare him. Footstool yelps and takes off with his tail between his legs. Belle laughs and turns around to share the joke with Beast, but he's disappeared. Confused, she turns in a circle, and boo! She screams. And as they both break into laughter, the dancing objects go waltzing by. We lose Belle and the Beast and focus on the objects as the number concludes. All the world seems to be singing and dancing.
We'll be dancing again, we'll be twirling again, we'll be whirling around with such ease. When we're human again, only human again, we'll go waltzing those old 1, 2, 3s. We'll be floating again, we'll be gliding again, stepping, striding as fine as you please. Like a real human does, it'll all be that I was on that glorious morn when we're finally reborn and we're all of us human again.
Interior, Belle's room, early evening. Belle comes in from the maze with a sparkle in her eye and a rosy blush to her cheeks.
Oh, my. Have a good romp, did we?
Belle laughs and nods her head.
If I didn't know better, I'd think you might actually be having a good time here with us.
I guess I am. You know, I think everything might be all right if only...
Yes, if only.
Belle gazes pensively out the window. Interior corridor at Belle's door. Beast approaches the door. He raises his hand to knock, but the sound of Belle's voice stops him.
If only I could see my father again. Even just for one moment.
Interior, Belle's room. Wardrobe and music box exchange a look of helpless empathy.
I miss him so much.
Interior corridor at Belle's door. Beast backs away from the door with a thoughtful expression. Interior, Beast lair on the rose. Shriveled petals litter the base of the vase. Only a few remain clinging to the rose. Beast strides into the room and picks up the enchanted mirror.
The father. Show me Belle's father.
The mirror shimmers as we dissolve to exterior Belle's cottage. The cottage's rustic cheer has deteriorated into shabbiness. The scrawny chickens peck half-heartedly at crumbs in the overgrown yard. Maurice's invention still sits outside, rusting and abandoned. Interior, Belle's cottage. The cottage is covered in maps. They fill the walls with markings, arrows, red lines, and X's to show Maurice's failed attempts to find the castle. His open bag sits on the table filled with compass, flask, and traveling equipment. A despondent Maurice trudges up the stairs to Belle's room, and we can see that the loss of his daughter has taken a serious toll. He's lost weight, his hair is shaggy with more streaks of gray. He's taken lines of weariness in his face. Despair fills his eyes. He stops once, racked with a deep, wrenching cough. Interior, Belle's room. Her room is the only place in the house that has been kept neat and tidy. Maurice goes over to her library on the mantel where one of her books has fallen over. He lovingly pushes it back up and gazes around the room hopelessly.
Oh, Belle, I can't find the castle.
He pounds his fists on the mantel with helpless frustration.
I've searched and I've searched.
He grips the mantel, overcome with a fit of coughing. Dissolve to interior, the Beast lair. The Beast frowns as he gazes at Maurice in the mirror's reflection. He glances at the door, struggling with his own demons. He shakes his head finally and replaces the mirror on the table. Dissolve to exterior, northern France near the sea. The landscape here is much more brown and barren. Two horsemen ride down a winding road which leads toward a hill on which stands a tall, craggy estate surrounded by a high, prison-like wall topped with spikes. Gaston slows his horse.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
They continue on, but slower now. Exterior, the Maison de Lune. Literally the crazy house. Gaston and LeFou pass through the wooden gates above which a sign reads Maison de Lune. The grounds are gravel and devoid of trees or life. On closer inspection, the Maison de Lune appears to be an institution for the mentally ill. Bars cover the multitude of windows from which come the sound of chains rattling, a door clinging shut, a moan, the creak of rusted bed springs, and the sound of someone sobbing. LeFou is spooked. So is Gaston, but he's better at hiding it. He pushes LeFou ahead of him as they approach the front door. Gaston reaches up and pulls the bell chain. They wait. There's no answer.
Oh, too bad. Nobody's home.
He turns to go, but Gaston grabs him by the collar and plunks him back down in front of the door.
What are you? Are you scared?
Me? Nah.
The door swings open. It's dark and spooky in here. Whoosh! Gaston looks down to find LeFou is now hiding behind him. They hear the clink of heavy keys on a chain, and suddenly a tall, lean man in black with a long face and hollow eyes looms in the door.
May I help you?
LeFou's eyes go wide. Gaston's fake bravado melts away, and on his nervous smile, we cut to exterior of the forest. True to his word, Maurice has not given up the search for the castle. Loaded down with a heavy pack, he trudges up a hill in the thick wood. But his weariness and weakening health make every step an exhausting effort.
I've searched the whole area, but maybe there's something I missed.
A coughing fit seizes him. He loses his balance and stumbles backward. His foot slips off the side of the steep bluff. He falls, but manages to grab a low-hanging branch. He struggles desperately to pull himself back up, but he doesn't have the strength. His frail fingers slip off, and he tumbles down the steep bluff, all the way to the bottom, where his fall is broken by the icy waters of a rushing stream. Maurice moans. He tries to lift himself, but falls back into the water. He tries again, but barely manages to get to his knees. Bruised, soaked, and filthy, he grabs onto a boulder and with a great effort pulls himself to his feet. He staggers forward a few steps, but his knees buckle and he falls. He lays there for a few seconds, gasping for air, and he pulls himself up again as we wipe to exterior the Beast Castle evening. Close on the rose, it's only got one leaf left, and that one is starting to droop. Interior the kitchen. It's a hubbub of activity. Teapot stands in the eye of hurricane, shouting orders to the kitchen objects who are scurrying about, preparing an elegant dinner. A pair of wine glasses pass by on their way to the dining room.
Just where do you two think you're going? We're using the crystal, only the best tonight.
Two snooty crystal champagne flutes saunter past with their noses in the air. The glass wine glasses turn around and trudge reluctantly back to the cabinet. Mantel clock and candelabra poke their heads in the door.
How are you doing, Mrs. Potts?
A bit flustered, I must say. I've put on many an elegant dinner, but never one as important as this.
There is nothing to worry about.
No, nothing at all. Just her entire future. Both of you, I'm nervous enough as it is.
Interior the dining room. Belle and the Beast enter the dining room together. Belle is wearing a stunning gown of shimmering gold. The Beast is dressed elegantly as well. His mane is pulled back into a ponytail. He looks almost good. The chair starts to pull itself out for Belle, but Beast shakes his head. Chair realizes the Beast wants to do it himself. He politely pulls her chair out. You're muted.
Thank you.
She sits down and he pushes her back in gently. She smiles up at him. A music box jumps into Belle's lap. Beast sits at one end of the table. They sip their soup. Beast handles his spoon like a pro. He glances at Candelabra, who gives him a wink of approval. Mantel clock gazes at the door.
Where's the music? There's supposed to be music.
Hearing this, music box jumps up onto the table.
I'll play.
He saunters forth to save the day. Mantel clock rolls his eyes. As music box begins his simple little song, Mantel clock sneaks out the door leading into the ballroom. Interior the ballroom, a grand piano is snoozing away. Mantel clock charges up and gives him a good kick. Interior the dining room, as music box plays, another sound floats in from the room next door, a rich, full, romantic sound. Music box frowns. He tries to play louder and keep their attention, but he's out of his league. Beast gets up curiously and goes to open the door. Interior the ballroom. Now that he's got an audience, grand piano begins to play in earnest. The dining room. Belle pats music box on the head for his efforts, then goes to join the Beast at the door. Music box trails off. Feeling left out and rejected, he slinks off the table and wanders away to nurse his wounded feelings. The ballroom. Belle and the Beast stand in the doorway. The music surrounds them. Belle begins to sway. The empty ballroom beckons. She turns to the Beast with a determined look.
You are going to learn to dance.
I can't.
Of course you can.
She holds out her hand to him. The objects look on with bated breath. Will he have the nerve to take it? Beast hesitates. He reaches out, and their fingers touch for the first time. The objects are thrilled. They can barely contain their excitement.
Just listen to the music. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
They attempt a few steps. Beast crunches down on her foot.
Ouch!
I'm sorry. Are you all right?
Didn't hurt a bit.
You see, I can't.
Try again, all right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
They attempt a few more steps.
1, 2, 3.
That's better. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
He smiles, getting the hang of it now. The objects look on with joyful anticipation. Belle and the Beast twirl around as the music swells up and sweeps them away. The dining room. Teapot watches from the dining room, surrounded by her cup children. Gazing wistfully at Belle and the Beast as they dance, she begins to sing.
A tale as old as time, true as it can be. Barely even friends, then somebody bends unexpectedly. Just a little change, small to say the least. Both a little scared, neither one prepared. Beauty and the Beast. Ever just the same, ever a surprise, ever as before, ever just as sure as the sun will rise. Tale as old as time, tune as old as song, bittersweet and strange, finding you can change, learning you were wrong, certain as the sun rising in the east. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast.
She bustles her children off to bed, but Chips tags along behind.
Off to the cupboard with you now, Chip. It's past your bedtime. Good night, love.
Interior West Wing corridor. The music plays off in the distance as Music Box wanders alone and lonely down the hall. He passes the Beast lair. Interior Beast room. Inside, the enchanted mirror flickers to life, almost deliberately, as if it has a part in a larger design. The hallway. Outside, the flickering light catches Music Box's eye. He steps inside curiously. Beast room on the mirror, Belle's cottage, his POV. There's Maurice, limping, coughing, barely able to drag himself up the stairs of the cottage. He stumbles in the door, takes 2 steps, and collapses. The Music Box, horrified at Maurice's dire condition.
Oh no!
The ballroom. The objects are swaying with the music, exchanging blissful glances. Belle and the Beast twirl to the standstill in the middle of the room. The music trails off, but they don't pull apart. The objects lean forward. This is the moment. There is absolute silence. That time itself seems to hold its breath.
Belle.
She lifts her eyes to meet his. The feeling surges up in him, and he finds the courage to say the words. Jangling loudly, Music Box flies into the room, running as hard as his little legs will carry them.
Belle, Belle!
He's clearly in great distress.
What is it? What's wrong?
Come quick! Come quick!
Music Box pulls on her skirt, trying to move her towards the door. Belle looks at the Beast with confusion and alarm.
I'll be right back.
She sweeps Music Box up in her arms. Beast lifts a hand to stop her, but she's gone. The objects are utterly crestfallen, torn between sympathy for their master and their own terrible disappointment. Interior Beast room. Belle runs down the hallway.
In there!
She ducks into the Beast room. Interior the Beast room.
What's so...
And then she sees it. The mirror flickers with enchanted light, and inside, Belle sees the image of her father.
Papa?
She moves towards the mirror and picks it up. In the mirror, Belle's cottage, on Maurice, her POV. He hasn't moved from where he fell near the door. It's hard to tell if he's even breathing.
Belle.
Belle in the mirror.
Papa! Papa!
He can't hear you.
At the sound of his voice, she whirls around with pain and accusation in her eyes.
You had this all along. You could have let me see him.
You're right. I should have shown you. Sorry.
He may be dying, and he's all alone.
Beast struggles with himself. He glances over at the rose. A single leaf stands between him and utter doom. He looks back to Belle, and his face reflects the pain he sees in her eyes. He frowns, trying to shake off the feeling, but it's no use. His heart has gone out to her, and it's breaking along with hers.
Then you must go to him.
She can't believe her ears. Neither can Candelabra, Teapot, and Mantle Clock, who have gathered in the door behind them.
What did you say?
I release you. You are no longer my prisoner.
She stares at him, equal parts disbelief and joy.
You mean I'm free?
One of my servants will guide you through the mist.
Oh, thank you. Hold on, Papa. I'm coming home.
She tries to return the mirror to the beast, but he shakes his head.
Take it with you, so you'll always have a way to look back and remember me.
Thank you for understanding how much he needs me.
He seems about to say something, that he needs her just as much, but the words won't come. He reaches out to touch his huge hand briefly. She reaches out to touch his huge hand briefly, then turns and runs from the room. Mantle Clock is so overwrought he can't hold himself back.
She was your last chance. How could you let her go?
How could I keep her?
He brushes past them, certain he's doomed them to remain a beast for all time. Teapot shakes her head with a wistful smile.
After all this time, he's finally learned to love.
That's it then. That could break the spell.
But it is not enough. She has to love him in return.
They watch the beast trudge slowly up the stairs to the castle turret.
And now it's too late.
Interior, the highest turret. Beast climbs to the highest turret and gazes down. On Belle, Beast POV. On Belle and Philippe, almost said Belle and Sebastian for some reason, as the sawhorse leads them across the bridge and into the mist. Belle never even looks back. The Beast. He throws back his head and howls mournfully at the moon. As we pull back as the heart-wrenching sound fills the glittering night sky. Dissolve to exterior, Belle's cottage, dawn. Dawn is breaking as Belle and Philippe gallop around the bend toward the cottage. Philippe whinnies of greeting as they approach, but Belle's face registers dismay at the sight of her run-down home. She leaps off Philippe, grabs the saddlebag, and runs into the cottage. Interior, the cottage. Maurice is still lying on the floor. She gasps and runs to his side.
Papa, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, terrible time to find that funny. He's deathly ill, shivering and feverish. His eyes open weakly.
Can't find the castle.
Shh, it's all right. I'm home now.
She puts his frail arm around her shoulder and helps him into bed. Wipe to Maurice's bedroom later. Maurice tosses deliriously. A very worried Belle sits at his side, mopping his fevered brow.
I'm not a thief. Run, Belle. It should have been me. Me.
Wipe to later. Belle holds his feverish head up to pour a bowl of warm broth down him. Wipe to evening. The fever has finally broken. Maurice sleeps peacefully. A tired but relieved Belle kisses him on the forehead. Tinkle, tinkle. She looks up curiously at the familiar sound. Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. It's coming from inside the saddlebag. Belle puts her hands on her hips. Sounds like someone stowed away. She gets up, moves quietly to the bag, and tosses the flap aside. Sure enough, there's the little music box looking up at her with a sheepish grin.
Hello.
You little rascal.
She shakes her head good-naturedly and puts him down on the table. But the open flap has revealed the mirror. She picks it up.
Oh, I forgot to say goodbye.
She carefully places the mirror in a place of honor on the mantelpiece.
You really have come home.
Belle whirls around. Maurice is awake. He holds out his arms and she runs to him. They cling to each other. The words tumble out.
Papa, I was so worried.
I thought I'd never see you again.
I missed you so much.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. The beast isn't nearly as bad as he looks. He was very kind to me. He even saved my life.
Remember me?
Oh my. Well, I guess I wasn't seeing things after all.
Wipe till later that evening. Maurice is able to sit up in bed now. Belle is feeding him soup, talking about life in the castle.
You should have seen it, Papa. There were hundreds of books, and I helped the beasts learn to read, and...
There's a sharp rap at the door. Music box jumps. Belle looks at her father curiously. He shrugs. She pulls the curtain aside to look out the window. Exterior, Belle's cottage, her POV. There's an ominous wooden wagon with bars at the back parked in front of the cottage. She sees Gaston speaking to a tall, unfamiliar man dressed in black. A curious crowd is gathered.
What is it?
I don't know.
Another loud rap.
Open up!
Belle goes to the door. Exterior, the front door. LeFou standing there, all puffed up importantly. He opens his mouth to speak, but Monsieur Doc appears behind him.
I'll take over from here.
Oh, sorry, Monsieur Dark, sir. I didn't mean to get in your way or bother you or anything like that.
Gaston's hand appears from behind Zark and whisks LeFou out of the way.
May I help you?
I've come to collect your father.
My father?
Don't worry, mademoiselle. We'll take good care of him.
Belle looks at the wagon. From this angle, she can see Maison de Lune written on the side.
Maison de Lune? My father's not crazy.
Dark steps to the side to reveal Gaston leaning against the tree with a big, smug grin.
This fellow here claims that he was ranting and raving about a beast who lives in a castle.
We all heard him, didn't we?
An affirmative murmur ripples through the crowd. The tavern owner steps forward. I'm afraid it's true, Belle.
He's a danger to himself and the village. He'll have to be locked up.
Monsieur Doc motions to his men who move toward the door. Belle throws her arms wide, blocking the entrance.
No.
I'll deal with the girl. Now, Belle, be reasonable.
He jerks her roughly away from the door and out of earshot of the crowd.
What do you think you're doing, Gaston?
Well, someone has to protect the village. The streets aren't safe with that lunatic father of yours running around loose.
He's not a lunatic.
She tries to get past. He grabs her arm and yanks her back, slamming her into the wall. Hard. He looms over her.
Of course, if you would have married me, I might have been more understanding of your poor father's condition.
What are you talking about?
And if you were to change your mind, I might be able to convince that unpleasant fellow to go away.
The pieces fall into place. Belle stares at Gaston with shock and disbelief.
What are you saying? This is blackmail.
Call it what you like.
You think you can force me to care for you?
I'm not asking you to care.
I could never marry anyone as vile as you. Never.
We'll see about that.
He whirls around and storms into the cottage. Interior, Belle's cottage. Gaston stomps over to Maurice's sickbed.
Gaston?
He jerks him out of bed and drags him to the door. Exterior, Belle's cottage. Gaston holds Maurice in the doorway.
Tell us again, old man. And how big was that beast?
Well, he was enormous. I'd say at least 8. No, more like 10 feet tall.
You don't get much crazier than that.
The villagers shake their heads.
Poor old Maurice, finally gone over the edge.
Gaston drags Maurice down the stairs and shoves him at Dark's men.
Get him out of here.
But there is a beast.
The crowd turns. What?
And I can prove it.
Belle races up the stairs and into the cottage. Interior of the cottage. Music box is hiding in the saddlebag as Belle runs in to retrieve the mirror. He tinkles fearfully. Exterior of Belle's cottage. She runs out onto the porch and holds the mirror up for all to see.
Show me the beast.
The mirror shimmers, the beast castle in the mirror, and the castle appears, looking less bright and cheery since Belle's departure. The crowd gasps with surprise and wonder. The mirror shimmers again, and there's Beast, slumped in his great chair, staring at a cold fire. He's shaggy, disheveled, clearly backsliding without Belle around.
You see? My father's perfectly sane.
Someone screams. Monsieur Dark blanches at the sight of a real beast. His men drop Maurice. They all start backing up toward the wagon.
I'm afraid there's been some misunderstanding.
They all leap inside and take off in a big hurry. Gaston looks from the mirror to Belle, confused and furious that his well-laid plan has been foiled. The townspeople are very nervous.
So it's true.
There is a beast.
Didn't I tell you?
What a horrible creature.
Will he hurt us?
He wouldn't dream of it. There's nothing to fear.
Gaston watches this exchange, and it occurs to him that she's defending the beast.
We're not safe with a savage beast in the forest.
Please don't be afraid. He's not dangerous.
Not dangerous. Well, I ought to know a vicious animal when I see one.
He's not an animal.
Oh, really? Look at the size of those monsters' fangs.
Belle advances on Gaston with fire in her eye.
Yes, the beast looks frightful, but he's never bullied me. He's never threatened me, and he's never tried to blackmail me. He's not a monster, Gaston. You are.
Gaston's face twists with rage. He raises a hand to strike her, but the crowd gasps, stopping him. His gaze falls on the beast in the mirror, and he finds an outlet for his revenge. Gaston grabs the mirror out of Belle's hand. He holds it up over his head, inciting the crowd to panic.
The beast will make off with your children.
Several mothers gasp and grab their little ones close.
He'll come after them in the night.
No!
No one will be safe with this beast until this beast's head is mounted on my wall. I say, we kill the beast.
The crowd cheers.
No, I won't let you do this.
Belle tries to get the mirror away from Gaston, but he grabs her arm roughly.
If you're not with us, you're against us. Bring the old man.
The cronies grab Maurice. Belle and Maurice struggle as they drag them towards the cellar woodshop.
Get your hands off me.
We can't have them running to warn the creature.
They throw them into the basement. Slam. Belle and Maurice beat on the door.
Let us out.
We'll rid the village of the beast. Who's with me?
I am.
Gather torches and weapons will lay siege to the castle and bring back the monster's head.
Dissolve to interior Beast Castle, the ballroom. Beast picks up a book. He opens it and reads silently, struggling with the words. But it's difficult, and Belle's not there to help him over the rough spots. He growls with angry frustration and throws the book across the room. We travel through the castle, which was so recently alive with joyful singing and dancing. Now the objects are silent, solemn, listless. A heavy shroud of depression hangs in the air. Interior the library. Mantel clock, candelabra, teapot, chip, footstool, feather duster, and telescope are huddled on the carpet around Belle's chair, pondering their fate.
I knew it! We were foolish to give our hopes up! Ugh.
Perhaps it would have been better if she had never come at all.
Oh, shush now, both of you. Belle brought a little cheer into this house, and we have to be grateful for that.
But now the spell will never be broken.
Do not fret, my sweet frou-frou. The endless years may drag on and on, but I will never leave your side.
That's what she's worried about.
Feather duster pushes candelabra away. Footstool's ears perk up. He runs to the window, yapping. They look up hopefully.
Can it be?
Is it she?
They leap up and run to the window. They look out eagerly. On the bridge, their POV. It's Gaston and his mob. They're already through the gates and crossing the bridge. The objects, they gasp with horror.
Who are they?
Invaders! Oh, they're storming the castle!
On Gaston, their POV. He leads them with the mirror in hand.
Two! They have the mirror!
Take whatever booty you can find, but remember, the beast is mine. If it's the master that they want, they'll have to come through us first. Boil the oil. Evacuate the porcelain in China. United we stand. Who's with me?
He turns around to find he's alone. Everyone else is running out the door.
Wait. We haven't discussed strategy yet. No, come back, I say. As head of the household, I demand that you stop right there. Oh, okay.
The door slams shut. He gets up, runs to the door, and beats on it.
Open the door at once! No, all right, fine, okay, but you're courting disaster without me. No, absolutely.
Interior Belle's room. Beast sits morosely next to her bed, holding the scarf that Belle gave him to bind his wound. Wardrobe looks on with big, worried eyes. Teapot peeks in the door.
Pardon, sir?
Leave me in peace.
I wouldn't trouble you, but the castle is under attack.
Oh dear, this is most disagreeable. However did they find us through the missed?
They have the mirror.
Beast looks at Teapot sharply. If they have the mirror, that can only mean one thing.
Then Belle must have.
Don't you even think it! That darling girl would never do a thing like that!
Suddenly, there's an incredible boom, boom, boom from below.
Oh, Lord, they're breaking in the doors! What shall we do, sir?
But Beast is too heartbroken to care.
Let them come.
Belle's scarf slips out of his hand and falls to the floor. Exterior, the Beast Castle. A thunderbolt explodes across the sky as Gaston and his men carry a battering ram across the bridge toward the castle door. Interior, the foyer. The objects have gathered to the foyer. Boom, boom, the door shivers from the assault.
To the door! Tout suite!
They barricade themselves against the door. Boom, boom, but they can't hold it.
This is not working!
Again!
Interior, the foyer. Boom, the door crashes inward. Gaston steps through victoriously. The others eagerly gather behind him, but all they see is an empty foyer filled with furniture and miscellaneous objects. Gaston gazes suspiciously down the empty corridors.
Follow me.
They proceed cautiously through the piles of furniture toward the staircase. The objects jump up and follow behind silently. One of the men senses something behind. He whips around. There's no one there, but there is something different about that furniture.
Buddy, I could have sworn that table was just over there.
You're just seeing things.
The first crony shrugs and they continue on, but then LeFou spots an ornate silver candelabra. He approaches it with avarice in his eye.
Hey, this ought to bring a pretty penny.
He turns back to wink at the others as he grabs for Candelabra, who ducks. LeFou misses. He turns back quizzically. Candelabra doesn't move. LeFou peers in closer, and Candelabra pokes him in the eye.
Ah!
Seal the gates!
Slam! The door shuts, sealing off their escape. The objects advance menacingly, and the battle begins. As the objects rise up to defend the castle, Gaston continues on in his search for the beast. Interior, the library. Mantle Clock piles books up at the door.
I have no idea how to prepare a proper defense. This is absolute mess of it, and then they come crying to me. Oh.
He slams the last book on top of the pile and uses it like a ladder to reach the doorknob. He manages to turn the knob just as the door is shoved open from the other side, knocking Mantle Clock and the pile of books to the ground. Gaston peers in, looking for the beast. Mantle Clock climbs to his feet and runs for the open door just as Gaston goes out again, slamming it in his face. Mantle Clock stands for a moment, head against the door, then starts to build this pile all over again. The foyer. Downstairs, the battle wages, but decidedly leaning in favor of the objects. The castle halls. Gaston continues his furious search for the beast as we wipe to exterior Belle's cottage. Lightning flashes, illuminating Maurice's invention, which still sits in the yard. Maurice peers out from the barred cellar door.
I could kick myself for leaving it out there in the yard to rust.
Interior, the cellar.
If we had that contraption of mine in here, we could use it to knock a hole the size of...
Belle sits with her head in her hands. Music box crawls out of her pocket into her lap and tinkles sympathetically.
What have I done?
Maurice comes over to lay a comforting hand on her shoulder.
You mustn't blame yourself, child.
Belle looks up at him with anguish in her eyes.
But it's all my fault. I led them right to him.
And saved your old papa from the terrible fate, I might add.
But you heard Gaston. You heard what he's going to do when he finds the beast. I have to get out of here. I have to warn him.
Music box looks up at the high window, then down at a discarded ball of twine lying on the floor and gets an idea.
Don't worry. We'll think of something.
The twine flies up to the window. Music box follows, winding it through his internal cylinder. At the window, he swings out through the broken glass. Exterior cellar, flies out the window and lands in the soft dirt. He gets to his feet and spots Maurice's invention sitting on top of a knoll. With a determined expression, he starts off toward it. Interior, the cellar. Maurice is trying to drill his way through the door while Belle attempts to pry open the wooden screws with a knife. Exterior, the cellar. Music box finally makes it to the knoll of the invention. He looks up at the enormous, complicated contraction. He sighs, utterly daunted, takes a big breath, and jumps up. The invention. It's a complicated maze of ropes, levers, pulleys, wheels, bellows, bells, and whistles. He has absolutely no idea how it works. With a little ingenuity and a lot of luck, the music box manages to get the thing started up and moving towards the cellar. Interior, the cellar. Maurice pauses at the sound of something very large rolling towards them.
If I didn't know better, I'd say that sounds exactly like my...
Belle peeks out to see the invention on a collision course with the door.
Look out!
She pulls him away just as the invention comes crashing through. Moonlight streams in through the open door as Belle helps Maurice to his feet.
Are you all right?
By jiggity, it worked! I knew I had something there. Wait a minute. If we were both locked in here, then who...
Belle hears a wink, tinkle, tinkle coming from the crash site. She digs around and picks up the music box, who's in worse shape than ever, gears and springs sticking out all over.
It was you, wasn't it?
Music box tries to say something, but all he can do is make a tiny, pathetic, broken, sour little note. He drops his eyes. He knows there's no hope for him. Belle looks helplessly at her father, who gently takes the music box.
What are you looking so down in the dumps about? I'll have you fixed up in no time.
Music box perks up enough to manage a weak sideways grin. Belle looks anxiously at the open door, desperate to go to the beast, but worried about leaving her father.
Papa,
Maurice can see how difficult this is and makes it easier for her.
You'd better get yourself back to that castle, young lady, before it's too late.
Her face lights up with a relieved smile. She throws her arms around him.
Will you be all right?
I'll be just fine. Now go!
She kisses Maurice and pats Music Box on the head.
Thank you.
And runs out the door. Maurice immediately starts fiddling with Music Box.
Now let me see. Where is this little gear supposed to go?
Exterior the cellar. Belle stands outside the cellar and whistles urgently. Philippe whinnies in reply and comes galloping out of the barn. Belle leaps astride.
Can you find your way back to the castle, Philippe?
He whinnies eagerly.
Then fly.
Philippe rears and they thunder away in a flurry of hooves. Exterior the castle. Another lightning bolt crackles across the sky as the battle wages inside the castle. Interior the foyer. The objects have neatly polished off their opponents and piled them up in wheelbarrow and dumped them out the door. The objects turn back, clapping their hands and congratulating each other on a job well done, just as Mantle Clock comes running down the stairs.
Right then, let me at them.
He arrives at the bottom, brandishing a sword in each hand.
Have your blackguards, I'll give you a thrashing of your...
He trails off as he sees the other objects have handled the situation without him.
Oh.
As the objects send up a rousing victory cheer, we interior the corridor. Gaston runs down the corridors, kicking doors open and challenging the beast to reveal himself.
Beast, come on out. I know you're here.
Footstool comes running up, snarling and growling viciously. Gaston kicks Footstool, who flies into the wall. Crash. Footstool yips piteously. That is all it takes to die. Don't hurt the dog. This is the beast. This is all the beast can take. The door explodes outward, and the beast is there, looming over Gaston, roaring with fury.
Get out of my castle!
Gaston gasps, utterly taken aback by the sight of the real beast, but his hunter's instincts kick in, and he raises his sword.
Not without your head.
With a battle cry, he runs at the beast. The beast roars and knocks him away. The beast roars and knocks him away with powerful arms. Gaston goes at him again. As they fight, they back up onto Belle's room. Interior Belle's room. They fight their way through Belle's room. The vanity objects run for cover. Wardrobe makes unsuccessful swipes at Gaston. They back up onto the balcony. He leaps to the balustrade. Swoosh! He swipes at the beast's head. The beast ducks. Gaston turns and leaps onto the roof. With a howl, the beast goes after him. Exterior, the enchanted mist. Philippe thunders down the road.
Hurry, Philippe. Please hurry.
He careens around a corner and plunges off the road into the mist-shrouded forest. Interior, the castle. The crowd gasps as the battle between the beast and Gaston wages above amongst the gargoyles, spires, and parapets. Exterior, the castle gates. Philippe thunders up to the gates. Belle is horrified to see the castle surrounded by Gaston's men with torches. Philippe clatters across the bridge. The castle steps. Belle looks up to see Gaston and the beast battling on the rooftops as the storm rages above.
Beast!
She leaps off her horse and dashes up the steps to the door. The crowd tries to pull her back. No, Belle!
Let me go.
She pounds on the door. Interior, the foyer.
Let me in, please.
At the sound of her voice, candelabra, teapot, mantle clock freeze in their tracks. Can it be?
It's Belle!
Mantle clock opens the door and Belle runs in, frantic over the beast's welfare. She flies past them and up the stairs. Candelabra falls to his knees dramatically.
She has come.
Interior of the Beast Lair. The battle culminates on the balcony of the Beast Lair. Down below, the mob watches in stunned silence as the two grapple, dangerously close to the edge. Finally, the beast knocks Gaston's sword away. He reaches out and grabs Gaston up by the throat, lifting him high. Belle runs into the lair and stops short to find the beast with Gaston in a death grip. Gaston's feet flail in the air.
Let me go! Let me go! Please, don't hurt me. I didn't do anything.
But the beast is lost in his animal fury. With a roar, he prepares to snap Gaston's neck. Below, the crowd gasps with horror at what he's about to do. The beast roars again, caught in an internal struggle. But try as he might, he can't do it. He's too human now. Finally, with a growl of frustration, he drops Gaston.
Get out.
Gaston holds his throat, gasping his air, face twisted with humiliation and outrage. He sees his sword on the ground. With a treacherous cry, he grabs it and runs at the beast from behind. Belle screams.
Beast!
The beast turns at the sound of her voice. His face lights up briefly to see her, and Gaston stabs him in the back. With a howl of agony, he swipes Gaston's powerful arm, knocking him off the balcony. Exterior of the castle, Gaston screeches as he tumbles from the balcony to his death. Good. The balcony. The beast takes one step towards Belle and falls. She runs to him.
Please forgive me. I tried to get back in time to warn you.
No.
He winces from the pain.
If you hadn't let him go, this wouldn't have happened.
The shadow of a smile crosses his face as he quotes her words.
But there's something called mercy. At least I got to see you one last time.
Don't talk like that. You'll be all right. I won't let you die.
He glances over at the rose. The last petal will fall any second now.
It's better this way.
No, it can't be. Please, please. I love you.
His tears splash. Huh? Oh,
No, I died.
Oh, sorry. Her tears spill down to splash on the beast's cheek. As she leans down to kiss him, the enchanted rose bursts into full bloom. The spell is broken and magic fills the air. The beast's eyes blink open. He glances down at his paws as they transform into human hands. He brings his hand up close to his face and gazes at it with wonder. He reaches up to touch his face. It's smooth. Belle watches, stunned, speechless. Interior of the foyer. Mental Clock is pacing back and forth, throwing up his arms.
Right, fine. Well, that stuffs it. We are doomed forever. Ooh.
Suddenly, he's encircled in a glimmering shroud of magic, and he transforms into a short, rotund, mustachioed majordomo. But he's so caught up in his proclamations of doom that he doesn't notice.
I knew that it would turn out like this. I knew.
Behind him, Candelabra magically transforms into a tall, smooth, suave, dashing maitre d'. He looks down at himself with disbelief. He taps the muttering majordomo on the shoulder. He glances up. Candelabra throws open his arms.
She has broken the spell!
The majordomo gasps with shock. He glances over at Teapot, who is transformed into a plump little cook who dabs at her eyes with a kerchief.
She set us free.
Mantleclock dares to look down at himself. He gasps.
Oh, good Lord. So she has.
The maitre d' bursts into tears of joy.
I'm so happy.
He grabs the majordomo by the shoulders and kisses him dramatically on both cheeks.
Stop that! Stop that! Stop it at once! Just get a hold of yourself, man!
The balcony. Belle finds herself gazing at a handsome young duke. He gets to his feet, grabs her hand, and pulls her through a room where she sees that Wardrobe has transformed into a grand lady-in-waiting. She stands in front of the mirror, twisting and turning to see herself.
Isn't it marvelous? I'm positively svelte.
Interior of the castle. The Duke sweeps Belle through his magically transforming castle. A cheer rises up from the transforming servants as they pass. He throws open the front doors. Exterior of the Duke's castle. Dawn is breaking as the castle casts off the spell that has held it captive for so long. The veil of mist lifts from the surrounding forest. The sun sparkles on the morning dew, birds chirp, and the castle itself seems to shimmer. Behind them, the servants throw their arms around each other, hugging and kissing. Joyful tears flow. A short-legged dog wags, barks, slurps, and jumps all over everyone. The castle is alive with rejoicing. The cook leans down to retrieve a group of small children who run into her arms. As she hugs them tearfully, a little boy grins, exposing a chipped front tooth. Finally, Belle manages to speak.
What's happening?
The Duke turns to her with a loving gaze. He smiles and takes her hand.
Once upon a time, there was a spoiled, self-centered little boy.
Cut to interior Maurice's workshop. He's putting things away, muttering to himself as usual. He turns back to the music box and stumbles over himself with a surprise. Instead of the music box sitting on the bench, it's a young music apprentice. On Maurice's stunned expression, we dissolve to exterior the Duke's castle. White flags wave from the turrets. People stream in and out of the castle. Music fills the air. Belle and her Duke sit in a wagon piled high with maps, bags, and books. They turn to wave goodbye to the servants, who stand on the front steps waving back.
Right, off you go. Don't worry about a thing.
The Duke flicks the reins. Philippe whinnies in response as they clatter across the bridge.
Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
He waves goodbye, then turns to wink at the twittering maid. She rolls her eyes. The cook holds the hands of her children who wave goodbye, while the short-legged dog barks and gives chase.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
From an upper window, Maurice leans out to wave goodbye as well. They pass the gates and turn onto the road. Maurice goes back inside. There's a beat, and then, boom! The east wing explodes. The wagon, but they don't hear it. They're a little too caught up in newlywed bliss. A little further down the road, they turn a corner and pass an old beggar woman standing at the side of the road with a basket of flowers. She watches them solemnly as they pass. Suddenly, the Duke gets a shocked look of recognition on his face.
Wait.
He looks back over his shoulder at the wise old woman who smiles and bows graciously as they disappear around the bend. The end. Yay! So good!
Oh, that old wise woman.
I know.
Tale as old as time.
Yes.
Oh, snap.
He never would have found love without her. Oh, okay.
Wow. That was great, you guys.
Yeah, so good.
You guys all brought it.
Sorry for
Oh,
them.
Jason, that was amazing.
That was so much fun.
So good.
You know, I think Jack Black was in the live action, wasn't he? I'm so tempted to tag him on Instagram when I promote
Josh
this.
Gad, not Jack Black.
Josh Gad, yeah.
All right, well, we'll talk about more about that, who was in it, who was not, and etc. after we do our outros in case anybody has to go, even though we're done earlier than usual tonight. So I can't really talk about it more because you guys are awesome. But so tell them where they can find you awesome people to hire you for their projects. Tim.
Me? Well, you can find me online. I got a website. Right now, I'm pretty active. You can just type my name on the search engine. But as you can see, my Instagram handle is right there. Toonie Tim Keatsman, right there. You can find me there, or you can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle there is VOFriendTim. Or is it VOFriendTimD? I'd have to check. But yeah, that's me. Yeah, like I said, you could just type me in the search engine. You'll see me. And this was fun. Thank you very much for letting me play that character. And I'm so glad I got to sing it.
That was awesome. Vicky.
Hi, I'm Vicky Dykes. You can find me on Facebook under Vicky Dykes, and I'm also on Instagram. I'm YogaGramma7.
Excellent, excellent. And Morgan Toll.
Hi, Morgan Toll. SAG-AFTRA actor, voice actor. You can find me on Instagram at Morgan Elizabeth Toll. Or you can go over to Streamly's YouTube page and both see me and Rob hosting some cool Q&As and live signings for actors.
And she has an event in December in memory of her, is it a cousin, I think?
Yes, my cousin Jace, who passed away this year, My sister is doing a live autograph signing, and all the proceeds will go to Jesus Magic Closet. And that's on December 5th, so you can watch it live.
So good. Petra.
Hello. Petra Stedman, currently findable at Petra Stedman on Twitter. My extremely nouveau Instagram is finally going to actually get some use starting in December, and that'll be Petrapedia42. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to seeing how it goes. Aaron.
Did you call me?
Yes.
Sorry. I was following everybody on Instagram.
Oh, never mind. We'll come back to you. Keep going. Just kidding.
No.
We should pause longer after everybody. No.
I'm Erin Lillis, and I'm a voice actor, and you can find me on Instagram at Ravie13. That's RAVIE13. I just created a hive, and I made it Erin's a character. And I'm on TikTok as Scarin Lillis.
Those are some awesome usernames. Good job.
Yeah, loving the one for hive. That's awesome.
Yeah. Jason.
Oh, I thought I was next. That's what you
I guess
said.
I'll go quick and then yeah. So Jason Steele, and I'm I can't remember what my usernames are everywhere. But I did just came out with a web series that is came out today on YouTube. It's under Tellus Story Hive, and the series is called Frame Forward, and it's about the future of film production. Some taking a look at where we are now in film production and the future in such topics as how people with disabilities are in film production, things like VR, film festivals, Web3 and Film3, what's the next phase of that stuff. So lots of different things. So look for that. And my website is porcupineproductions.ca. So thank you very much. This has been a blast.
Awesome. It's so crazy about all the new tech and stuff coming up. Like, I don't know, the virtual backgrounds, and I need to hear more about Web3, so I'm going to have to listen to that. So, but next we have Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Lee Cameron. You can see my work on Heather Lee Freelancer on Facebook, and you can find my continual work on YouTube, The Storm and Latter-day Saint, and a list of my links is there. You can find me on Facebook under Heather Lee Cameron, on Twitter under Chameleon, and then 5 sevens, just because I think Chameleon is cool and you can use all of my names to make Chameleon. And on Instagram under Heather Lee Cameron. And then I have a link tree on my social medias, which has a lot of my projects. And yeah, I'm an actor, I'm a voice actor, I'm a writer, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a storyteller, and I'm a family history research student. I know that's a lot, but I like being busy. I love the challenge. Anyway, yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Now, to learn
And
more.
I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta, and I'm a dual citizen of Canada and the United States, so I can work a lot of places. Thanks, Mom, for being born in Spokane so I can have that option.
Exciting.
Thanks.
Daphne, tell us about you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Daphne Earhart, and this was super fun. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Angel, for inviting me to do this. This has been wonderful. It's good to play sometimes, and it just feels good for the heart. So I do voiceover, acting, modeling, and you can contact me on Instagram at Dr. Daphne. And what I also do is I do guided meditations. So I'm a psychologist and I like to lead guided meditations to help people in groups. So if you know of any companies or any groups that want to do that, I love doing that. And
I know a group.
What?
I said, I know a group.
If you guys ever want to do it sometime, that would be so fun. We could just
How expensive is it?
Feel peaceful. Well, we'll talk about it later. But this has been wonderful. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Belle. And now we have Angel.
Hi, I'm Angel. And I've got lots going on right now, but and not much to say about it right now. More to come.
Anywhere,
And Angel CDP at different places. Pardon?
Say more.
anywhere they should people follow you to find out when you have those updates.
It'll probably be on my Facebook page, which is Angel Peterson, but it's hard to find me there. So I'll just
She's hidden. She's
talk about it as more stuff
She'll
comes
be back here. Look at in
Here.
future weeks.
Yes, come back to TRT, Table Read Tuesday. Like and subscribe. If you haven't already, do it now. All of us.
And now we're happy to have back Rob Fury, the Beast.
What is up, my friends? Rob Fury here. You can find me on all social media at official Rob Fury. So that means on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Hive, Twitch, TikTok. Yeah, all of that. You can find me, official Rob Fury. And like Morgan said, you could catch us on Streamly's YouTube page when we're going to be hosting a bunch of different celebrity autograph signings throughout the years because, hey, this is the cool stuff that we do. So follow us.
It is really, really cool. And you guys do have a lot of really awesome talent on there. So that's awesome. Well,
that's just like the panel that's here right now.
Yeah, like this awesome panel of talent. So you guys heard them all. They're all amazing. And you guys know where to follow them. So go do that right now. And those that have to leave, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the rest who can stay and want to talk about the movie, we'll do that right now.
I have to go.
Thank you so much for coming and being our beautiful leading lady. You did it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were here.
Thanks for having me. It's been super fun.
We'll talk later. Bye-bye.
Lovely to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Rob was saying at the same time he had to go too.
Rob did too. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. That was really, really good, you guys. That was fun.
I hope so. I only practiced for like half a day.
It pays off.
I was a little nervous thinking that this was going to be
Sam,
different.
you're like perfect, like all the time. So whatever.
It was great.
Yeah, you are awesome. Timbo, nervous about what? I missed that.
I said I was nervous because you said this was the original script, so I figured it might be different. I saw the intro was very different from what I had watched so many times, and even said, and even often quoted as I was out delivering mail, just because I love it so much. And anyway, but it turned out well.
Oh, really well. And like you said, this was one of my favorite movies growing up too. Like I saw it, I don't know how many times in the theater. I was so thankful for like dollar theaters. It's like that. But yeah. What are some of the differences you guys notice? Things that
the music box. There was no music box in the original thing.
Yeah, the invention, if I remember correctly, was in the basement with Belle and her father, and they managed to get it working and bust out.
No, Chip breaks out it's wood chopping
Right, Chip.
and Chip actually sneaks out and manages to turn it on and chop the cellar door down to get them out.
Well, didn't Chip go with Belle when she left?
He stowed away in her bag. All of his bits in the movie were actually incorporated from the music box because they felt they didn't need two characters, and they actually really liked. I am trying so hard to remember the name of the child actor who voiced Chip. I think it's Bradley Pearson. He did a couple of other things, so I think that's it. But he was playing around in the sound booth doing like his two lines, and they're like, he was so adorable that they just basically like transplanted all of the music box stuff to Chip because they didn't need two kid characters. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cute.
That's cool. That's cool to learn that happened later because of the voice acting and not like at some earlier writing or storyboarding phase.
And I don't recall like all the people, I might be wrong about this. It's been a while since I watched it. I don't recall like the objects actually feeding Maurice before he got caught.
A little bit. That's in there.
Is it?
A little bit, yeah.
Not very much. They didn't actually go into the whole thing. I think they the Beast caught him very early on after he enters the castle. And they
Or
don't,
like,
and the beast didn't catch him stealing the box or whatever.
No, that's not in it. He doesn't do the rose thing, which was the original plot device, and he doesn't do. But no, he does like get fed. He gets it down. The footstool comes and props his feet up. He picks up Chip and goes, "His mustache tickles, Mama." You know. So,
Again,
yeah,
I haven't seen the movie in about 10 years or more, so
Time for a rewatch.
I know it's time for a rewatch. I just literally I just knew how to act based on. Yeah, I just literally knew how to act because it was in my brain.
Yes.
Only one song missing from the script, right?
The which one?
Something there.
Yeah, that's the one that was missing.
There was also the mob song that was missing, I think.
Kill the beast. Oh, they did have lots of Gaston's what he says in the lyrics. That he was more singing it in the movie, but they had those here in the script.
Yeah, but I think Kill the Beast was definitely a good one. And then Human Again was the song for this that they took out. And I know they added the mob scene afterwards, but they took out Human Again, then they added it for the stage play. And then they
have it in the behind the scenes, right? Because I've definitely
heard it.
They added it to a re-release of the movie. They put it back in.
They added it for like the super edition. And then there's some elements from this that were completely left off, and they were actually incorporated into Belle's Enchanted Christmas, I think.
So this really was the first script? Well, I think it shows. Because reports about Disney's production, The Beast, was the hardest and most difficult character for them to create in history. You know that? And I look at this script and I say, it shows, because I find the Beast's transition with this script hard to believe. I mean, it seems a little too quick.
Yeah.
It's hard to see a montage in a script.
Yeah.
Really isn't a montage moment. I remember Beauty and the Beast for it being the first Disney movie to incorporate 3D animation, if I remember correctly. The ballroom scene was the first 3D animated scene in a movie, and then after that, they kept.
Well, actually, that's not entire. Was it? Was it 3D animated or computer animated? Because I know the first computer animated, I believe, was either that gel-headed guy from The Abyss, and then the stained glass knight from Sherlock Holmes was actually one of the first animated.
That's the first character. That's the first.
I mean, in a Disney animated feature.
I think maybe in any animated feature, actually, that may have been true. So.
Very cool. Very cool.
I did find one thing that was kind of cute, though, is because obviously they had to fill in lines and stuff like that. But one of my favorite lines from the script is when they're walking through and it's like, I mean, you could go with the usual gifts, flowers, chocolates, promises you don't intend to keep. And that was actually entirely improv by David Ogden Stiers, who was also the narrator for the movie version. So
I do have a question. Sorry, were you done? I forgot. I didn't know if you were done. No, I can't remember. Like, was the whole breakfast tree scene in there where he tries to bribe her with the breakfast and she tells him to go away down the hall?
No, it was a scripted scene. I don't believe it made it into the final.
Okay.
They wanted to like progress them to getting along where possible faster. So.
There was like something similar there, but not exactly that.
And then the reading scene. I don't think the teaching to read scene was in there. I don't think it was. I don't know. I don't have children. So I don't know things.
I remembered it, but
I think when they added back into the scene in one of the songs, it's like part of the montage, like part of the song.
Oh, that's why maybe.
Well, they read, but she's not teaching him to read in the thing. I think they found it impractical that even a young aristocratic or royal family member would not have had like a tutor to make him read. So I do like that they've taken that aspect out of a lot of the few other versions. They're like, no, he would know how to read. He would. I think it's a very cute connecting moment because like her love of reading and like that humanizing effect. But it's like, no, he would have had tutors from the time he was about 4 or 5. He absolutely would know how to read. I'm sorry, no, just because it's been a while.
Well, if he was a beast for 10 years and became pharaoh, maybe he would have forgotten.
And it seems like the way they wrote this in this version that he was much younger when he first turned or something.
He was 11.
Oh, and mentioned the age. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was in the first narration. It mentioned he was an 11-year-old boy when the old woman came, and he was a brat.
Yes. Jason, any thoughts? Putting you on the spot.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I was just looking at the IMDb and writing credits. There is so many writing credits. So in this draft that we just did, it's just got by Linda Woolverton, first draft in June 1990. But looking at the writing credits on IMDb, she has animation screenplay by as her credit, and then there is everyone else has a bunch of like story by. So Brenda Chapman, Chris Sanders, Bernie Mattinson, Kevin Harkey, Brian Pinmental, Bruce Woodside, Joe Ranft, Tom Ellery, Kelly Ashbury, and Robert Lentz. And then of course there's the original stories and based upon the original tale by. So there's two different original stories. So the original tale by Gabrielle Suzanne Barbeau de Villeneuve, and then original story Jean-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont. So it's like there's so many people who have at some point had their hands in the writing of this. It's kind of cool.
What was that script we did sometime in the last few weeks that it literally had the entire first title page had like 20 lines of like pink copy, goldenrod, green. This is kind of like that. They had so many people who did revisions, scene edits, rewrites, complete like overhauls of entire sections, but they left other stuff alone. Somebody went back and did retooling of some of the scenes leading into the songs. So yeah, and everybody got a credit. It's one of those, like, I think they actually had to trim it down to like only like the X number of people when it went up for awards for the writing they had to pick like who was going up for the award if they won. So, and
this demonstrates how like animation is not like within the Writers Guild, and so they don't get the same royalties and different things. And some of the story by I feel like are also probably were storyboard artists, because lots of times in animated films they do a lot of the story and development and writing like through the boards, and they act it out and stuff.
Yeah, then you got your animation directors.
Erin, we haven't heard from you much, so do you have any thoughts?
I was trying to think of what tidbits I had about Beauty and the Beast, and that was basically it. The 3D animation scene. Yeah, and here's a fun fact if you don't know it. The Broadway version of Belle was Susan Egan, who then later went on to voice Megara in the Disney Hercules movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
If you hear the original Broadway live cast, you're hearing Belle, Susan Egan, who then became a Disney princess twice over.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool. If you guys do go back and watch the animated version again, one thing I love about it is as Gaston's falling, they drew a little skull inside his eye as he's falling, just for like a couple frames.
Yeah,
really?
Just to make it very clear, he's dead, and it had to be very quick. But it's a freeze frame, blink and you'll miss it thing. But the way that like, you know, single inserts of like frames in a movie can kind of flash in your subconscious. They wanted to make sure, yes, he's definitely dead. Even if he didn't kick the footstool dog in this one, because for that alone he deserved death. It's like, how dare you, sir?
I remember, speaking of freeze frame, Belle has a cameo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
She does, and so does Pumbaa. He's being carried on a unfortunately he's dead. He's being carried by two hunters, and the carpet from Aladdin is being shook out by one of the townspeople when Quasimodo looks over the town square. I love that movie.
You know, something bothers me about this. Like, you know, how like a lot of people see how Gaston is rough, physically rough with Belle, and everybody just brushes it off like, oh, he's Gaston, he's cool. But he's physically abusive to Belle and this old man, her father, and nobody cares. It's like, what is wrong with people? Is that like a European thing that everybody just brushes it off and allows Gaston to be an a-hole, just an abusive a-hole, just because he's big and strong and has the muscles or whatever? Is that like, how is that acceptable?
Isn't that Hollywood?
Yeah, that's everywhere. You're big, you're powerful, you're handsome, you get away with what you want. And if you don't, it's because somebody decided that they didn't want to take it. And that's, yeah, for a very long time, you were the biggest, the strongest. You were, you know, brought people when you wanted them, or you went out and you're like, I'll take that one. Well, she doesn't choose you. I don't care. That's the one I want. And you got them by virtue of being the biggest, the strongest, the whatever.
Is that like the Prince Humperdinck syndrome or something?
I don't even think it's that. And actually, he's not a bad guy. If it's, I mean,
he did the same thing though. He said, "I want that girl. Bring her to me. I don't care what she wants. I want that girl. She will be mine."
Well, he had. Trust me, the book is vastly different than what the movie ended up being, and that's kind of similar for this.
He like shoved her against Gaston, shoved her against a wall and grabbed her arm and did all this rough, abusive crap.
Which you'll notice they trimmed out of the final movie. They did not have that. The worst that he does is get like right up in her face and like grab the mirror away from her. He's intimidating. He is not physically abusive in the movie to her.
And I think that.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that's what they're also trying to show purposefully in the writing, Heather, how this guy that some of the people maybe looked up to in this stuff was much more of a beast than this other person that they were scared at and viewed as a beast, because he didn't make her stay there. He let her go free when Gaston was going to force her and all these other factors. So they wanted to make them more different in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it also goes off with, not judging a book by its cover, which is a good kind of.
I'm sorry if this is upsetting for people.
It should upset you. That's good.
I just thought I'd address it because it's like, how are people worshiping this guy that's obviously abusive? It's really distressing that some people will just look at somebody and decide, oh, they're great and wonderful, even if their personality is downright disgusting. But they'll look at somebody who's different and odd, even if they're really sweet, they'll just say, oh, you're different. You must be awful and disgusting. You're dangerous. You're unsafe. And that's God awful.
Mm-hmm. There's also
the point of the movie, but yes.
Sorry, I'm on a soapbox.
Go ahead, Angel. Okay, go ahead, Angel, and then Tim.
I was just going to say there's also the whole Stockholm syndrome idea of keeping a woman against her will, and then she falls in love with him.
And I'm like, Patrick brought out in the past, this was a lot how it was, the masculine world and this and that. But
I still love the movie, but there is that.
Well, you have to remember, she treated herself for her father because her father was going to die.
And Wreck-It Ralph, where all the princesses are talking about all the horrible things.
So good. That's amazing. But yeah, Heather, like you're right. A lot of people judge people just by how they look, especially at first, and then they can
or how they act. It's the whole the other syndrome. If people just would stop and look beyond people's differences, maybe they'd see the gifts that the others have to offer the world,
But Tim's been raising his hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
So
it could also simply be the fact that he's a bully. I mean, kind of like a bully at school. Everybody feels compelled to respect. I mean, we can't see these people, and maybe they're afraid. It could be that they're afraid of getting hit themselves. Just a thought.
Point. Yeah. The girls swooning over him, that doesn't. But yeah, the other
airheads.
The triplets are not meant to be bright. They're literally eye candy, and they view him as it's like, so I'm roughly the size of a barge. He's no barge. He's a dreamboat, which they had to add in later. But it's like, you're only looking at the surface again, and that's. Again, it's a continuation of the theme. You cannot judge by what they look like, by what your first impression is, even sometimes. In some cases, that red flag is, a tarp that could cover, football field. Run if you see those, if you recognize those. But for the most part, don't be so quick to judge. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's what you're supposed to do. So.
First impressions seldom are what a person is really like, because a person might be nervous at first when they step into a new environment, when they step around people they don't know. I mean, take me, for example, personally, I'm never really my best at my first impression because I get heavily nervous when I'm around strange people, a strange environment. It takes time for me to calm down and actually be able to focus and get to know people. But people are very quick to judge me on my first impression, and it's a terrible thing. And I wish they wouldn't, because if I can get used to people and used to a situation, I'm actually like a pot of gold. I bring out great blessings.
Very true.
And I'm going to cry. Oh my gosh.
Aww.
But I'm sorry. Anyway, go on.
Don't be ashamed of, and what you say to everyone. Don't you change? Or
I don't plan to
Don't
change.
say that about yourself. You're mean to yourself. I'm going to kick your butt afterwards.
Yes.
If people
Give
can't
yourself
learn
a
to
hug.
love me as I am, they can just go deal with themselves somewhere else. I'm not going to change who I am for them. I've already tried to do that, and it was painful. That's why I spent my 20s in hell. So
You get a good tan.
Just follow this Disney character's idea. When the world turns its back on you, you go ahead and turn your back on the world. Not very super advisable, but
no,
still.
it's funny. I love your impressions. I'm sorry. I just decided to use an example. It was easier that way.
Although speaking of voice acting, like impressions and stuff, I did not realize when I was a kid that wasn't Maurice Chevalier voicing Lumiere until I got older. And then I was like, wait a minute, who's that guy? And then I realized that like Jerry Orbach had a very long and storied career in Broadway and other shows and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, so he was just doing Maurice Chevalier. And yes, it's weird that I was probably, 6 and knew who Maurice Chevalier was and did not know anybody else except for Angela Lansbury. But
cool.
That was my life. It was just weird.
Awesome.
There's nothing weird
I'm
about
this old
you,
and I still
Petra.
don't.
What now?
There's nothing weird about you.
Oh no, Jacob, what'd you say?
I said I'm this year's old and I still don't know who that is. But
You're not old, Jacob. You're probably barely older than me.
this old, whatever age that is, that's old.
Oh, by the way, I
and I
missed my
knew-
35th birthday with you guys, so I'm now 35. Yay!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Jacob, you've seen Dirty Dancing, right?
No.
Not you, Jacob. I said Jacob, have you seen Dirty Dancing?
Yes, I have.
Okay, the guy who plays Baby's dad, the doctor,
Okay.
is Jerry Orbach. He's the guy who voiced Lumiere in the movie.
Oh yeah. Did you know there's going to be a sequel? They're talking about it.
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, there's going to be a sequel. The female
already
lead is
is.
talking about it.
There already was. There was already a
The
fall.
Havana
Maybe a
Nights.
remake, a reboot. Is maybe what she means.
Okay.
And
All right,
musical.
Tim.
All right. I'm just saying I think I need to go. I'll be
All right,
this was
Tim.
great.
Thank you.
Great to
Thank you
have
so
you
much.
Much
again.
for letting me be a part of this, and I hope to see another Disney movie soon. I'll see
You
you.
were fantastic.
All right, always a pleasure.
Goodbye
Very well.
Bye. Good night.
and good night.
Good to see you.
All right,
Nothing
should we
left to
call it
say
for
now.
everybody again? That's what we should call it. If that really
Oh,
works.
let's talk about him. Ha ha ha. I'm just kidding. No, he was really good. We liked it.
From a script standpoint, do you guys find that it's interesting to read a animation script because of all of the exposition?
Yeah, there was a lot. Like there's that prologue, that was kind of a weird piece. Like the
Yeah.
prologue where it's got dialogue in the prologue, which is just I think that's kind of terrible writing as a scriptwriter. But I don't know.
Well,
Hmm.
it's meant to
written
be like an
differently, yeah.
introduction scene, which I got, but I mean, I said it in the chat. I was like, I mean, I'm sorry, hands down, the stained glass storybook style introduction I thought was a much better choice. Number one, it trims it down, it makes it more accessible. You get to the story faster, and I think it was actually a really cool visual style to tie into the look that they had going on for the rest of the film. So it was like, I thought the stained glass thing was a really cool idea.
It is, because we all remember that image, the stained glass window, like that's burned in our brains. So as we mentioned in the chat too, like normally they teach, and I firmly believe this for most cases, it's like you want to show, not tell. And there, like that little scene was, even though they wrote it horribly, like you said, Jason, and like a paragraph that has dialogue in it, that they were showing the scene of what happened instead of just telling it later. But like you said, Petra, for maybe efficiency of storytelling, and they saved a ton of money and everything else, but by doing it just as they did instead.
I think that if it was just a first draft, they just wanted to get the idea out there, and but they also had that throughout the whole script, where the action descriptions had little dialogue in it.
Yeah, those little clip pieces that showed up every so often was a little weird.
So Jacob, as you mentioned, saving a ton of money. So in terms of movie production, is producing animation cheaper than live action, or is it vice versa? You would know this.
It depends. It's really expensive because it takes a lot of, and there's certain ways to do it cheaper and go cheaper ways. Especially now, someone can just pick up a digital camera, have no money, have your phone, and you can film something for free right now.
I mean like 2D versus 3D animation versus live action. Which is the cheaper way to go?
Normally live action, and then 2D, and then 3D. 3D usually is the most expensive. Like, again, there's different ways to do things cheaper. Like most Pixar, DreamWorks animated movies cost about like $200 million. But
why is it so much money?
Because you have back pocket animating every 5 minutes of film. That's why.
Every second has like 24 frames in it. But there are companies and other productions have made animated films for about like 30 million. Like if you get a low budget 3D animated film to go like direct to one of the streamers, some of them can do it for about 30 million. But Pixar and DreamWorks have taken more time on it. They'll give their people more time, more detail. Like on average, they animate, and then again, this is on average, like total. So maybe it has multiple revisions going back and forth, not their first pass, but about 4 seconds of animation a week per animator. So just think how many animators that would cost, or how much time would that cost, and multiply that by money. That's a ton. Now, again, other shows that don't need as much money, like on Jimmy Neutron, we did 15 seconds a week. But there's also stuff that's like Mickey Mouse Playhouse, where I'm like, oh, that animation's so horrible. Why is it so bad? And then you talk to the animators, they have to do 25 seconds in a day. And so that's why the animation's no good, because they have to animate so fast. Even if you're an amazing animator, you can't make it good in that amount of time. And again, you look at the audience, preschool kids, they don't care. They still love it.
Yeah.
So
it's full of noise and color, and it keeps their attention.
That's the trick. Yeah. And why spend more if they don't need to?
Yeah, maybe put the money where it counts, like they have the music that gets everybody into it and watches it. Yeah.
That's cool.
One thing I did, because there are so many people that comment that like this has been a thing since I was a child and saw the movie for the first time, and everybody picks up on that one darn line in Be Our Guest. 10 years we've been rusting, needing so much more than dusting. And everybody's like, well, that would have made him like 10 years old and blah, blah, blah. And like okay, number one, the portrait in the Beast's layer that's threaded is, bless you, is not of an adult. I would maybe argue it's like a teenager, which makes sense because if he was younger and immature, he would have done something stupid, but he probably was not 10 or 11 when the sorceress shows up. Later versions of the song, including like the re-release where they incorporated human again, they changed that to too long we have been rusting. And I'm like, thank you, because then it doesn't put a clock on it. It makes it more believable.
I like that too, because like, well, for me, I felt like when they saw the image of the person, like again, especially with the little kid and the dog, like I felt the enchantment froze them all in time as well. So they didn't age during this. But when I saw in the script that it said 10 years, I'm like, how would this whole entire town and city and all these people forget about this castle and all this stuff in 10 years? They wouldn't. So
the theory has always been like it's part of the magic or the curse, the enchantment that like turned everybody in for the first time. And you're like, yeah, okay.
In the script they did write, she said, you're not going to have any human visitors or something like that.
Something like that. But it's stuff like that. And you're just, I don't know. Okay.
Overall, I like the script. I felt like it still was pretty close to the movie, and I was able to see it, and it drew me in, and I felt like it all came across.
Absolutely. It was just, it's just amazing. But it's like I think in this case, you definitely see there's a lot of like the giant chunks, like the set pieces that are still there, but then there's like, you see where stuff went back and was like finessed and polished up and made better. Like, I still love the fact that they loved Be Our Guest so much, and they're like, yeah, we really shouldn't waste it on anybody but the main character, and that's why they took it out and changed it to be about Belle. And I'm like, I approve of that. Yes.
Yeah, and what you said right there, I think makes sense, is why I think it was Linda that got like the main credit, because she did put in all the big landmarks, the whole thing, like the set pieces, like you said, and all of that mainly stayed true, and everybody else did their thing to make it better and improve it.
Cool. I'm wondering on this draft that we have, it's got this 0213 just stamped on the pages.
Yeah.
You see it mostly on the front page, but then you see like little bits of it in all the other pages. What is that? Would that be like
I think it's their watermark. You know what I mean? Like to who got the script, what version of the script, like to
maybe, but then it's a first draft, right? So unless like a whole bunch of people got to see this draft as they decided whether they were gonna make further drafts, because this isn't a production draft, but a production everybody would have a different draft, right?
No, it says number 213. It says number 213 because the N is faded out.
Oh, is that what it is? N0
Yeah.
NO.
And it was on more pages. I went through here in Adobe Acrobat and like try to clean up and delete some of the stamps in there to get out of our way. But
I can see the N because that's sort of what I've had to learn. Had to learn how to decipher writings and stuff in my family history research classes, so I can tell.
Sure, awesome. Well, thank you.
I wonder what you're saying, Jason. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what that refers to, or if it's because it looks like somebody literally took a stamp and stamped it on each page of this version. So I'm curious what that was intended for.
I have zero clue, but my guess too is seeing the number 213. I'm wondering like if they had like a spreadsheet with it, like we're keeping track, like this is Disney and we want to protect our stuff or whatever. Keeping track of
production number, like N013.
No, but
like it says production.
It's got production 0254 or 0234, 025. I can't tell
the screen.
But
well,
yeah,
I think it's a filing number because like they file things by number. It's a filing system.
Okay.
Maybe. So it says 213 here. Up here it says production 254.
As you see the faded N, it's NO213.
I think that's
NO is an abbreviation for number.
I think this is a 0 now, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a 0.
I mean, this could be it has up and a down, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe, hopefully, anybody that watches this and has an idea of like the history. What'd you say?
I said, if you know what this is, please tell us.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just too keen for my paleography classes.
They used to do this in scripts back in the day for some reason that we are unaware of.
I'm curious what that is. I don't know.
I could see the idea of stamping each person's, like once they get to production or get to a certain point, stamping each person's copy of the script with stuff so that if it ever gets out, they can be like, oh, 213, I know whose this was. You leaked it.
Yeah, I have seen that actually.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they have a script supervisor to keep track of numbered scripts, don't they?
Well, he means something different. Like if someone tries to leak the script, like I'm going to get the script and I'm going to put it out there for people to know and see before we make it and put it in production. They wanted a way to track who leaked it.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't the script supervisor collect scripts at the end of the read?
Supervisor does continuity.
And often don't come into the thing till much later.
They're on set with when they're filming in Valley Village, and they just watch the actors and make sure the continuity is correct within the script and the actors.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool.
Well, I don't know everything there is to know, so I'm glad you're here because you do.
I don't know everything.
You do.
We're all learning. Hopefully, we all keep.
You're
learning.
SAG after, so you know quite a bit.
Well, I did get my degree in film, so I hope it means something.
It does mean something. It does mean a lot.
I did too, but I don't know anything about real filmmaking.
Something I actually did not know.
Like real estate.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just was going to say, it's like real estate. I got my realtor license and it was nothing to do with actually being a realtor. You learn basically everything when you're on the job working.
Yes. I approve. Yes, I like it.
And your own style of doing, which is very similar to film. Everybody's got their own way of doing things. You can do it low budget or high. I mean, if you get an opportunity to do high budget, fantastic, but not everyone gets that opportunity.
Either way, if you guys want to make stuff, go out there and make stuff.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to.
Takes one of these things.
Yes,
The
half the
phone.
time. Really all it takes.
I'm
I mean,
thinking
minimum.
about it. I've got
Do
an
it.
idea. I just got to
Do it.
find time to film it.
Make it. Set it. Put it in the schedule right now on the calendar up ahead of time.
Oh no, it's just a homemade movie I've got an idea for.
Okay.
Who
Do it.
will?
Do it up. I'll watch it.
There's actually a piece of trivia that I just found that I did not know. Angela
Oh,
Lansbury
what?
almost did not. I know it happens. It's very uncommon. Angela
We have to
Lansbury
hear.
nearly did not sing the title track.
Oh.
There was a
Like
mix-up.
Vicky. She
Yeah.
was just
No. I mean, like he nearly did not sing it like at all. They sent her by accident a rehearsal thing of the pop version that was played over the end credits, and she didn't want to sing a pop version of the song. She didn't think her voice was appropriate for it. So she got to the rehearsal space and told them she was going to have to turn it down and have someone else sing it. And they're like, "Oh no, you got the wrong one." When they played the more classical version for her, she agreed to do it.
Huh. Bless you.
Bless you. I did not know that.
Interesting.
Funny.
I'm like, holy cow.
That would have been a shame if they had a pop version.
I know. Well, and also, like, how tragic would that have been? Like Angela Lansbury not singing Beauty and the Beast. That's like it's as much as part of the movie as, I don't know, the Beast. It's you can't not have that. It's crazy. Although one thing I did know, Mary Poppins herself, Julie Andrews, was in contention for the role of Mrs. Potts.
Oh.
I could see that working too. She's amazing.
Oh yeah, she would have done it stellar, of course. We know this too, but yeah, I'm like, oh, that is maybe the only person I think maybe would have done. I hesitate to use the word better, but she's the only person I can potentially view in lieu of Miss Lansbury. I'm just like, oh, I'm like, oh, Mary Poppins singing Mrs. Potts. I think I would have died. Okay, well, rambling about trivia for the rest of the night, or are we in a place to cap it? Does anybody else have anything else?
Well, now I want to do more Disney things because I want to do Aladdin and things like that because, you know, I could sing Arabian Nights quite well.
Oh,
what?
I said only if you're the peddler. Oh, he's the only one that gets that song.
Well, that would be fun. I could be a very good peddler.
Don't doubt it. Okay. Well, I don't know. Jacob, should we go to final thoughts, or did you have anything else?
So. Nope, that's good. Any final thoughts before we say happily ever after?
Before we say adieu and bonne nuit. Wow, that was pretentious. I'm sorry.
It wasn't pretentious. Do you want to do Sound of Music? Because that was very good, actually.
Oh, I hate to say this. I'm going to comment right now. I don't think anybody has the range for some of those upper notes. That it's just, no, I'm sorry. It ain't
I love it though. With the Sound of Music, my oldest daughter, she used to watch that, and I just have this image of her. She just got out of the bath and she had this towel around her, and she's 2 years old. She jumps up on the bed and she's watching it, and she's jumping up down on the bed naked, yodeling just as good as Julie Andrews. She was amazing. I was like, where did you come from, child? She was amazing. I wish I had recorded it, or if I could, it was way back. I didn't have anything to record it with, but my mind.
Yeah.
So
the memory lives forever. I love it.
I do love it so much. I have to ask her if she can still yodel.
I did when they actually did the when NBC was doing that series of the live action, although they were rarely were they animated, but they did like the live action Peter Pan and the live action Sound of Music. Carrie Underwood was cast because she had yodeling in her background as Maria, and that's why they cast her. I'm like, go forth, girl. I love it. It's yes, please. That'd be the down home version of the Austrian wilderness. I love it. It was good.
It was pretty cool. It's like, I can't do that. How do you do that? You're 2.
Yes.
You know, now you're making me also want to do Annie because I want to do Miss Hannigan and just.
Oh,
Because I could do a good
Oh
Miss
gosh.
There's so many people to fight you for
Okay,
that, though.
yeah, I was gonna say I might fight you
Oh,
for that
yeah?
one. I don't
Okay,
fight for
you know what?
for myself.
Well, here's the other thing. It also depends. Would we be doing the movie script or the original?
Like the
script
one
that was
with
adapted?
Aileen Quinn, the one with Aileen Quinn and Carol Burnett, of course.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, but I'm
Love
like,
Carol
oh,
Burnett.
but the stage one has like a better
Little
version.
girls, little girls.
We just will have to do it like 10 different times and we'll each get a chance.
Yeah, everybody gets to rotate around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to rename this. It's not Table Read Tuesday. It's like Table Read every day.
Really quick. My absolutely brilliant best friend Sarah, who did like musical theater, she did a stellar performance of The Witch in Into the Woods that to this day I think is one of my favorite pieces she's ever done. She was amazing. And but no, she did she and her other friend Casey met during a production of Annie, and Sarah was cast as Miss Hannigan and Casey was cast as Grace Farrell. And when she went to go to, oh, what about this child here? And she sees Annie, the stage lights went out by accident because somebody had hit a breaker. And Sarah, without missing a beat, went, "What child? Where? It's the great 1920 blackout." It was hilarious. Lights came back on like 2 seconds. It was so good. The
If
timing,
it wasn't too long,
perfection.
if it wasn't too long, I'd also want to do a Fiddler on the Roof script because it would.
Oh
be
dear,
great.
no, God no.
I was in that play as it was one of my first plays.
Respectfully, if we ever do Fiddler on the Roof, I will bow out. It's not that that's not a great and compelling and powerful movie, but that script is longer than Citizen
I know.
Kane.
I said if it wasn't so long.
Forever. We would be this would not be Table Read Tuesday. This would be Table Read 3 days. No, Table Read 2 days.
Table read Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh no, Table Read 2 days.
I mean, we could always do that in parts, you know.
Well, next week we have The Sixth Sense. I know I moved that on you, Aaron, before. Are you still available? Or so yes.
Are we trying to get Aaron as Haley? Who are we getting her?
Well,
Who's she?
we already were going to do it
it
a
all.
previous week, and I forgot why we changed it, but we had it, or maybe we didn't. It was the one week we didn't do
I
it.
don't remember.
But
Is there
Yeah.
something evil I can do?
For was that October that it was originally? And then
possibly.
I know I wasn't here for
Likely,
it,
yeah.
and it got moved to December. So
It might have
And then-
been when my grandma died and we skipped a week. So
I'm sorry, Angel.
thank you.
Yeah. It would be appropriate. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
That's terrible.
Jacob.
Oh my gosh, Jacob.
Wait, this is live. What? No, this can't be live.
Okay, you know what? Just because you quit your job,
Good Lord. I'm gonna throw you in the ocean on Huntington Beach if you can't behave.
Jacob, just because you quit your job as Steve from Blue's Clues and went into hiding does not mean you get to say stuff like that.
It's all right.
my gosh,
when my
like,
dad
seriously,
when my dad
Petra.
died.
Oh my gosh.
While we're on the topic, while my dad died, I was in a play called The Death of Me. And it was all about paperwork of death. Basically, it was comedy. But I was like, I got to experience that. I had to sign a booklet like this thick about my dad's death and put my fingerprint on each one. And all I'm thinking of is like, holy smokes, it was right. The play was accurate.
Well, having had a father who died, I know it's complicated to deal with the death of the parents. So I know it's agonizing. I'm sorry. My condolences to you. It's agonizing.
Yeah,
It's
grief
hell
is
to
very
deal
strange.
with.
Grief is
Like
extremely
to have to go pick out a coffin and to
difficult.
deal with people who come and look at your parent in the coffin. It's hell. And we can talk about it later, but it's pure hell. I get you. I wish I could hug you.
Thanks.
We've met before and we've hugged before, so we can hug again.
Okay. I'm gonna do my final thoughts first because I've got to bounce. Sorry, as I just like plow ahead. I did like the script. I do think it had a lot of really good setup. I think some of the stuff was right to be trimmed down, and I think it had a lot of interesting ideas that they were able to coax and schmooze and polish to the shimmering jewel of animated perfection that we ended up with. And I really liked it, and the script was really cool reading with you guys, and thank you. And yeah, see you next week.
Thank
All
you
right.
for the meeting and the screen. Yeah, Sixth Sense, then Bridesmaid, then The Game. And then we have a little, screenwriting, acting, activity, game night type thing.
Okay.
So, all right.
And I will catch the end of this later when I watch the playback. I love you. Good night.
I mean, I think we'll just call it right now.
Oh, and Jacob, I am unmuted now, and yes, I am available next week.
All right.
I was happy to be here, and I was happy that I got to sing so much. I love being able to sing songs that I know.
Yeah, and thank you for
I
this.
was just gonna ditto off of Petra's. So
yeah, I think we're all going. So you guys follow your dreams. Don't judge books by their cover, etc., etc., etc. And we'll see you soon.
Bye. Peace, love, and blessings.
Bye.